And welcome to the podcast, guys, with Rob and Nando. Today we have another lovely guest on the show. Before we have her introduce herself, make sure you guys don't forget. Subscribe to the channel, the podcast guys on YouTube. We're also on Instagram, TikTok, and Rumble, the podcast guys _. We are on Spotify now, guys. If you can't watch us for some reason, you're always at work, you're driving to work, you're driving home, you just can't get to your phone and watch us, it's totally fine. Put some headphones on and go into Spotify and look up and follow the podcast guys and watch our episodes. We are also working on a Facebook. We have our Facebook out there, but there's some issues with it, but we are working on that, so check us out there. And we're good to go. So now let's introduce our lovely guests. Please state your name, age, occupation, nationality. We're adding that one now. Highest level of education and dating status.
Okay. All right. It's like so much, but but I'm ready. Hi guys. I'm Yasmin Elzomor. I do a lot of different things, but my main passion is life coaching. I'm 30 years old, and I know I look like I'm in my early 20s. But
You look younger than 30. That's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
But I'm dirty 30. And my nationality is I am half Egyptian and half Colombian.
Very nice.
So, yes, my dad's Egyptian, my mom's Colombian. I was born here, though, New York raised.
Nice.
And yeah.
That's awesome. That's a heck of a mix. And you are single or in a relationship?
I am currently single.
Okay,
Yes,
you're single.
Currently single.
And there was one more thing. Oh, highest level of education. I don't think
College. Yeah.
Okay, so some college.
Yeah, some college.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the show. Why don't you go ahead and just maybe couple statements you want to tell the people about yourself?
Yeah,
something?
tell us a little bit about, we had a conversation when we started today. You told us that you do both life coaching and relationship coaching. Could you tell us a little bit about that and where everyone can find you?
Yeah, of course. So I've been doing that for, I want to say like 5 years now. The reason why I got into it, I think it's important to even, talk about that, was because I, like many other people, were struggling in relationships, and I was in a romantic relationship when I was 21. It was a 4-year relationship, very unhealthy on both ends, right? I was not anywhere near ready to be in a relationship at that point. And I was like, you know what? I need to do something about this. Like, I can't keep, being the victim. I can't keep pointing fingers. I have to really like figure out like who I am at the core and how I can be a better partner. So after that that was the catalyst. That breakup was a catalyst to start working on myself. And I was just like, all right, I'm getting this done.
There you go. Yeah. And it seems like ever since that point of that breakup, you said 5 years. So 5 years since you started the life coaching?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, so that since that point, I've been, working on myself and like learning new things. And I was in another relationship not long ago. It didn't work out. We went, different ways. Like I outgrew the connection, and so did he. But it was so different from that first relationship because I had done so much work on myself that I was like, wow, like this one was actually a good relationship.
Yeah.
It ended well. Like there was no hate, there's no animosity. So from that point on, you guys, I was just like, this is like the thing that I love to do.
Yeah.
Right. I want to support people. I want to help them grow. I want to help them see their shadows and their own stuff, which is always really difficult. Yeah. But it was just like a big part of my journey. So that's what I've been doing.
And you coach both men and women when it
Both
comes
men
to
and
life
women.
coaching and
Yes.
relationship. Cool.
Yes.
That's huge.
Awesome.
Both men and women, yes. And it's interesting to see like the different insecurities that both men and women have, right?
Yes,
like
I definitely want to get into that.
Yeah, I know, Rob, because
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
just like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
We had a conversation before, and when you told me that you're into coaching, I was like, this is going to be perfect.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to dive into like the nitty gritty of like, what women feel when they're experiencing hardship in a relationship versus what men feel,
Cool.
because,
That's very important. I think, diving deep into that is going to be great for the people out there that really need it.
Yeah, for sure.
Real quick, where can they find you? So
my website is yasminelzomor.com, and I also have a podcast. It's called Humanity Feels. It's just personal development, spirituality, relationships, like literally all the things that make us human. And it's just a fun vibe. So come join, you guys. Come find me.
Awesome. Check out the website. Check out her podcast.
And Instagram, Yasmin Elzomor.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Awesome.
Perfect.
We'll have all the links in the description so you guys can go check her out.
Yes.
Welcome. So let's get into it, Rob, with the first question.
Yeah, so since you're into relationship coaching, I definitely have to start off by asking, what are the most common things that men and women approach you with? What issues, because I'm sure they're completely different.
Right.
What issues do men and women have when they approach you for help?
Yeah, so interesting. A lot of men approach me with like sex issues.
Really?
Wow. Okay.
Sexuality and issues of like, I'm not really, satisfied in the bedroom, especially after being with their woman for a while.
Okay.
That usually is a thing where the novelty wears off. There isn't much going on. So that's like the man side. Women come to me with like communication and like, he's not listening to me. He's not paying attention.
He's not opening up to me.
He's not. Fernando. That part.
So these are mostly people that are already in relationships for a few years?
Yes.
Or? Okay,
yes.
gotcha.
These are mostly people that are already like 3 years, 4 years in, like long term.
Okay.
Yeah. I get people that are like currently dating too, that they're single and they're like wanting to explore, they're wanting to date. And for them, a lot of the time it's like I get so many complaints about like game playing,
He's always on his Xbox.
No, like actually like playing game, like,
Game
like,
playing within the relationship.
Yeah, playing games. But yeah, that too. He's always on like video games, like he's not listening to me.
Do you get both like couples and married couples, or do you find it as mostly people dating? Do you get both?
I get both, but I do get a little bit more dating.
Okay.
Yeah, I get more dating. So just more like long-term relationship. And yeah, it's a trip, you guys, like seeing how men and women, act and how they feel, especially when they've been in a relationship for so long. Because a lot of the time they like end up getting too comfortable, too complacent, right?
Right.
Both parties, right? I see this a lot with like men. They get too comfortable. They stop working on themselves. They stop working out. They're like overgiving, overdoing to the point where now they're losing sight of their own mission, their own purpose. And that's a problem because women start to feel like,
he doesn't care anymore.
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't care because it translates. It translates to the relationship. Like if he doesn't care about his mission, then he's not going to care about me.
Yeah, I mean, what ticks me off is we have common friends, but also I have my own friends that some of them I don't really stay in touch with any further, and there's a reason for that. That's because they got into a relationship or they got married, and they're all just about her, and they don't remember the shell that they used to be. So what do I mean by that? They don't hang out with their boys anymore, or at least some of their boys.
Yeah.
Some of the ones that they were close to. They, as you said, don't go to the gym anymore or as much.
Yeah.
They don't take care of themselves. Even you want to talk about emotional, you want to talk about intellectually, they don't take care of themselves in that regard either. So I think that's something that men need to
absolutely
get back.
Absolutely. That brotherhood aspect too is something like I always like talk about because I feel like men really need that. They really need that brotherhood. They need to be able to rely on other men, that can hold them accountable because the truth is your woman's not going to hold you accountable in that way. No. She might inspire you in certain ways, but she's not your mom.
And she'll get frustrated trying to hold you accountable. She'll say, you need to do this and you need to do that.
Yes.
But deep down, she is getting pissed off that she has to go out of her way to do that.
Yes.
She may want to help you a little bit, but she doesn't want to sit there and say, you have to do this, you have to do that, man, try to convince you to become your better self.
Right, exactly. Because then it's like mothering. Then it gets to a point where now I feel like I'm your mom.
Right.
I feel like I'm nagging. I feel like I'm not like, like we're just kind of enmeshed and it's codependency and it's not healthy at all. So yeah, that's a big part and men lose sight of that, and they think that by giving their woman that much attention, they're going to keep her and she's not going to leave. Yeah. And that's usually like surprise. Yes. Because usually women are like, I don't like that. He's paying too much attention to me, and not so much on himself. And truthfully, like, it's really attractive when a man's like really focused on himself. Yeah. You know, that is very attractive to a woman, to a healthy woman, I want to say.
Of course. Of course.
Women want a man on his purpose. They want a guy that has something going for himself. And
absolutely.
Would you say that, like, women don't even want to be the focus of your life? Because if you, once you let a woman become the focus of your life, you will kill the attraction, and she will eventually be like, what? Like, you know, this is it? Like,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
What about your own goals and career, and what do you want to achieve, right? If it's all about her. Sure. I wanted to ask you, so when people approach you with relationship problems, how do you approach coaching them? Like, what's the first couple steps to, is it like asking them, of course, you know, what issues they're having, but how do you approach fixing it now?
Yeah. So the foundation, the basis of coaching people that, you know, my clients and stuff, it's always about them. Like, I always focus on them because they, you know, clients come to me and they're always talking about their partner, and they're like, so my partner did this, and this, you know, and they're doing this. And I'm like, okay, that's great. I don't know your partner personally, you know, so I can't really judge your partner right now. The only person I can really judge is you at the moment because I'm coaching you. So let's look at your stuff. Where are you not taking responsibility, you know? And a lot of the time, the women are the ones that, like, get a little bit like, but I am, and, like, you know, the man's not listening to me. And I'm like, I get that. I'm sure. I'm not denying your truth. I'm not denying that that's the case. But there must be a part of you that's, like, somehow, you know, like, attracting that in one way, or you're not really taking responsibility. You're not really, like, upholding your standards. Like, what's going on within you? So my coaching is really based on, like, shadow work. It's based on, like, looking at your inner world, right? It's based on, like, looking at your inner insecurities, like, you know, where are you, your blind spots, like, what are you not looking at? So you can have a better relationship with the person that you're with, you know?
Right. And you know what's funny? That woman that you may be coaching, even the man, but let's focus on the ladies for a second.
Yeah.
She may be the one causing the issues within the relationship, within the household.
Yeah.
And her not showing accountability is not going to fix anything. She's going to keep coming back for more coaching over and over again. Nothing's going to get done.
Yeah.
He may not be the problem. She may be the issue. Her not taking accountability is detrimental to her and her relationship. Because if she takes accountability, that's the first step to being able to solve the problem.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, like, guys, I can honestly speak, like, vulnerably from, like, personal experience. I've been there. You know, I used to be that person in my early 20s in that first relationship I was in. I was that person that I was, like, seeking coaches and, like, you know, validate me being right. You know, like, that's the thing. It's like sometimes we just want validation of, like, he's wrong, I'm right. Just tell me that I'm right.
Right.
And I used to be that person where I would do, like, I'd go to different coaches and I wouldn't be taking accountability, and I'd be falling in the same pattern over and over again. And I'd be like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
Why am I this is the definition of insanity. You're hitting your head against the wall.
Yeah.
Nothing is changing.
Yeah.
Stop paying for coaches if you're not going to do the work, you know?
Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is a definition of insanity.
Exactly.
And if you do that, man or woman, you're going to go nuts.
Exactly. It doesn't matter who you are, you know, but at the end of the day, it's like you need to really, like, look at yourself and be real.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, you know, I watch both male and female podcasts because I like to get, like, both perspectives and hear what people are saying about each other. And the most common thing you hear from women is communication.
Yes.
But from my experience in my previous relationships, flings, the communication on the female part was usually, like, you know, out of frustration, yelling, arguing, because once they get that urge to, like, let it out, it's never, like, clear, concise. Plus, men, we're very simple creatures. You have to explain things to us very, like, don't do that, don't do it this way, and that's how we communicate. We communicate on a very simple level. We're not good at indirect communication, signs, but, you know, stuff like taking hints. We're, you know,
choosing signals.
It's like the woman needs to come up and be like, hey, I like you.
Well, yeah, we're oblivious to like 99% of it. So I think that's where
feelings for you.
I think women get frustrated with men because of that, and it's because we communicate differently.
And that's what women should do nowadays is say, hey, I have maybe not I like you right away because they might not be that open to saying that, but saying or giving some obvious signal that, hey, I am interested in you is going to get a guy to come and start talking to you and getting somewhere.
Right, maybe like flirting a little bit, maybe like, just like body language, right? If you're next to the guy, just, maybe tapping his shoulder, touching him a little bit, like showing him that I'm like interested in you. Yeah. Like I want something more, right? But I agree, it's vulnerable and I get that. I get why people would be afraid, especially women. It's like, I want the guy to be the one to come to me and tell me that he has feelings for me. But sometimes you gotta make a move, girl.
Yeah. I mean, maybe back in 1970, 1980, it would be a guy coming up, knocking on the door because there was no phones, no other way to really communicate, and trying to spark up some sort of friendship and then growing into a relationship. Mm-hmm. Nowadays in 2024, guys are scared.
Yeah. I was going to get into that next.
Yeah.
I'll be straight. Guys are scared to go up to a woman and say, hey, I am interested in dating you. I have a liking of, for you. Mm-hmm. And hey,
is it fear of rejection?
That's definitely a part of it. Oh,
that's one of them.
Yeah. I want to hear your guys' perspective on that too.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
There's fear of rejection. There's also fear of being Me Too'd, being.
Oh, good point.
That, that
I didn't
movement.
think about that. I didn't think about that.
It's scary. A guy comes up and they try to talk to a woman and all of a sudden she tries to say, oh, what are you doing? Runs away. Inappropriate. You sexually harassing me. And it's,
Yeah, you don't want to take chances and risks and.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So guys are scared to go up to women. And not just that, but guys are frankly tired of going up to women and dealing with those issues. They rather just be in their own peace.
That's so true. That's such a good point, guys. I didn't think about the Me Too.
I think what's going through most guys' minds, your typical scenario, you're going to be at a bar. That girl that you're looking at is almost always going to be with at least 2 or 3, couple other people, right? Her friends, a group. Yeah. And you're thinking to yourself, like, if I go over there, I'm going to be embarrassed, or she's going to flip out, or what if I'm bothering her? So you could get really into your head about that stuff. And then, of course, like what Nando mentioned, the whole Me Too thing, you don't want to get like, because, it doesn't happen maybe that often, but like you see people getting blasted on Instagram, like viral videos, but that's like probably a worst case scenario. I think it's mostly the fear of rejection and that embarrassment.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah, and men, you're right. Men want to be in their peace. It's just like, I don't want to have to deal with all of that. I don't want to have to go through that,
See, the thing is that men are putting in the effort. They are trying. The thing is that now it's just with less frequency.
Yes.
Because of all those issues, the rejection, the fear of rejection, and just even going up to them and getting rejected a bunch of times, they're like, oh, what the heck? Yeah. Why am I even going to try? Screw this. I'm going to move on to doing something better. Yeah. Maybe I'll hit the gym.
Yeah, totally. Maybe work on my mission, right?
Work on my mission, work on my purpose. Yeah. Maybe I'll start playing a sport. Maybe it's yoga. Maybe it's...
That's so sexy, though. You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, we had one of our guys, Sardinia, he another online dating coach, and he actually was telling us how he went to a yoga studio. Like, that's not something that we're typically into. We usually lift the weights, and it worked out. There was nothing but girls there. There was no guys, no competition, and at that point you just have to be careful not to be creepy, because that could also go south. But if you know what you're doing, you just introduce yourself. Hi, my name is so and so. Don't make any stupid comments. It's another I think interesting place to meet women.
Yeah. You know what I find, Rob, with what you said about like not being creepy? I think a lot of men, when they don't own their sexuality, they come off as creepy. When they're confident in their sexuality, that's when they're not creepy.
I get what you're saying, because it's the nervousness and the uncertainty that makes you creepy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's like the awkwardness is what makes you like, oh, what's wrong with this guy? Like, what's that about?
If they're insecure, if they're not confident and meaningful with what they're doing to try to spark that conversation with that woman, then women are going to be like, maybe I shouldn't attempt to go. I don't know what this guy's intentions are. Are they pure or are they fake?
Right.
So I could see that perspective. I can see the ladies taking a couple steps back, especially nowadays with how things in the world are running. They might just kind of say, hold up a second.
Totally.
Let me not do this. I'm gonna wait for another guy to come up to me.
Yeah. What do you guys think about like social media and like competition from a man's perspective? With like, you see a hot woman on Instagram and you're just like, oh my God, like she must have a bunch of men like in her DMs or like trying to talk to her. Yeah. Does that kind of like make you guys feel, you know, like it's not worth it, or like what's the vibe there?
Very good question. I think when you scroll through social media, you could kind of tell based on her photos, like if she's posting the lifestyle, the yachts and Miami, and like it's all vacations, you kind of know right out the gate, like, okay, either I have no chance, or this is going to be more, you know, I'm biting off more than I can chew type of a scenario, because we get how it works nowadays, you know, and this isn't to paint all women with one brush, but you do have those women that are that live that type of lifestyle.
Yeah.
Fly me out, pay for me, you know, and I don't think that's what most guys are looking for, obviously, but that does exist out there. But it definitely affects, to answer your question, I think it definitely affects whether or not you're going to make any effort. So
for sure,
if you're balling like that, you might, right? DM somebody like, hey, let me fly you out. But like, you know, realistically, most guys aren't going to be able to even afford to do it. So
yeah, my take is
I wouldn't think so. Yeah,
I
wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there's also the situation where guys are trying. I know there are guys out there shooting their shot, no matter how tall or small the task is. But you sometimes pretty much have a conversation within yourself in those DMs. Guys are messaging those women, hey.
I see memes like that all the time.
I think you're cute.
Send Bob's and vegan.
They try all these things, the memes, the gifs, all the above, and
they try to make her laugh. They try to, you know, get something out of her, but it's just
she may read it, not respond. She may read it, send a question mark, and then he keeps going, gives him some hope. Oh, she saw it. She responded. She said something. But I think it's really meaningless to try to go after a woman via the DM, via Instagram, via social media in general, because especially if she has a big following. It's even worse if she has a big following, because as Rob mentioned, she's probably already getting flown out by the biggest bosses out there, by the biggest G's out there.
The crazy thing,
she's going to Miami, Dubai, like
Dubai, Vegas.
Dubai.
Since we're sexually driven, that's what we look at the most.
Yes.
That's I have to be honest about that.
No,
like that's what you're going to be looking at the most.
That's true.
But you're going to look at her pictures and be like, yeah, I'm not even going to. But that same thing's true for online dating too. Like there's been profiles where, you know, you swipe across beautiful, attractive women, but you could just tell the lifestyle that they're living is so up there that you're like, I'm not even going to even bother.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You got to learn how to look beyond the looks, especially as a man. I'm sure. Like,
good. Yeah, you do.
That's hard, right?
You do.
Because you guys are sexually driven, so it like makes sense, you know, that you would want that, but then you're like, this isn't really like.
It can't be everything, because that's how that's where the whole, like, you know, maybe we'll get into that during this episode. The whole simping thing happens because, like, as a guy, you're sexually driven. You see the looks, and you're just like, it can cause you to do dumb things.
Absolutely. So, oh my god, yeah, I know plenty of men that have done that.
I saw a post recently where some guy spent like $60K on some girl's OnlyFans, and then she put him on her, and it's so embarrassing. She put this guy on her Instagram and, like, you know, shouted him out because he spent like $60K on her OnlyFans. So
that's the worst thing you can do, guys.
I can't even believe that's a thing. Like,
yeah,
it's
insane. Yeah, it's a problem.
It's an actual problem.
It's a big issue, and if there's something that we can save the men out there from doing, is don't open your wallet for women that aren't reciprocating, especially that much money. That's crazy.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
That's crazy, because she'll put you on her Instagram. Maybe she'll have a fling with you. Yeah. Maybe like that one guy.
Maybe like one makeout session.
One makeout session, because
like a pity.
Like, oh, I have to.
Yeah. He spent $60K. I'll give him
a chore. I gotta do it now.
Yep.
Yeah. Or maybe one night of.
You gotta give him that hook.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And what do you get from that? Really, $60K down the drain.
Right.
You know, that I want to say poor kid, but that if that guy sees this, you are insane, bud. Make sure you do better, because you are setting a bad precedent out there for all men that see that.
Yes. Yeah. Seriously. It's like, stop, you know, put that towards something else, you know, like a business or something, like.
Exactly. It's just insane.
Anything but that, you know, anything but that. It's crazy.
That's a down payment to a house.
That's exactly it.
More than that. You know, you can get an FHA loan. I know a little bit about that. I'll get into that in the future, but you can get an FHA loan on a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 house for probably half of that money, half of that $60,000. So Just something to think about.
Now, I want to switch it up. I want to get your opinion on this. So, what do you think are the most common mistakes men are making? Because there's definitely got to be some patterns that you're seeing. Like, what are men doing wrong, or what are they missing? Maybe there's something they misunderstand about women, or they're approaching wrong.
Yeah. Well, Rob, what you said before, the simping. Absolutely. That's a big part. And, yes, the OnlyFans, but like the simping in the sense that they're like over giving way too soon, way too early.
Yep.
They're like taking women out on the first date to like fancy ass restaurants. And it's like, you really don't have to do that. Take her to like a coffee shop or like go on a walk to the park or something. Like, take it slow. You don't know if this is a woman you want to invest in,
Great point.
So be discerning of your time and your energy.
Do you find that women take men seriously when they are okay with going for a walk in the park, going for a coffee date, going for something basic? That's when a guy knows that she's willing to, she actually cares about him enough to do these things for him.
Yes. Well, women who are very healthy and integrated, I find, are the ones that are also discerning, because they're also like, let me take my time too getting to know this guy, know? Let me see if I really want him to invest in me, and vice versa. Women that are not, on the other hand, are women that are just like entitled and like, just buy me the world tomorrow, and if not, then peasant, you're not even worth my time.
Right.
But, women that are healthy are women that are discerning, and that are like the ones that will be like, yeah, let's go on a walk. Let me get to know you. Let's like, talk, banter, and connect on a deep level and see if this is something we want to invest in.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think a woman expecting an expensive first date is the equivalent of a man wanting to sleep with her on the first date.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? If that puts it in perspective. If the girl's saying, like, take me out to a 4 or 5 star, 3 Michelin star restaurant because that's what I feel I deserve, you're putting everything up front, Then what are you leaving for later? So if I'm taking you out there on the first day, where's the third day going to be? Like, where are we going next,
Ooh,
So...
Good point.
But
good point.
And it's not to say that women don't deserve it or that men shouldn't spend. I don't want to send the wrong message that men should be cheap or like not splurge on women. Right. But you got to do that with time as the relationship progresses.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it's not about being cheap. It has nothing to do with that. It's just about like taking your time with it and seeing like, if this is worth my time and my energy, then absolutely I'll take her on a nice date, absolutely. Then I'll give her more things. Absolutely. Like, but you really have to work for that. It's like, it's effort that you got to put in. You don't just sit there and you're like, I'm entitled to everything just because, because I'm hot or because I'm beautiful. It's like, no, you also have to do some work.
Exactly.
You have to do some work.
What can women start to do to show that they are worth the fancy dinners, the more progression in their relationship where the guy can give a little bit more of his time to her, give a little bit more of his resources to her.
Yeah.
Take her out more.
Yeah. So first things first, accountability, like we talked about before, but also self-respect. A woman that really respects herself, and like honors herself, honors her time, her boundaries, that's gold. Right? You want to, like, a man really wants to be able to be with a woman that, has these standards for herself, and again, is discerning of her time and her energy, and her boundaries. So women that work on that, I find, are women that are happier in relationships. Like, they're the ones that are like thriving, and they're like, oh my God, I've been with my partner for so many years and he's great and we have like a beautiful connection. Those are the women that get the world.
Which is huge. And I'm glad you said that, because it's like there's a big difference between what people think they want and what they think will work and what actually works. You have to like look at relationships that are actually happy and successful and like really look at them. Like, what are they doing? Like, are they doing what
Yes.
So.
And that's exactly it. When I coach clients, that's what I see. Is I see a lot of these women that are actually like, respecting themselves, and they have a good relationship with themselves too. Mm-hmm. They're confident, they're not like arrogant. That's different. That's a different energy, but they're confident.
Yep.
And they're nurturing, they're compassionate, they're loving. They have this feminine essence about them. They're playful,
Exactly.
Which is exactly what men desire. A man's at the battlefield. Like, he doesn't want to deal with shit all the time, Give him some fun, give him some play, you know what I mean? Like, dance with him, cook for him, do all these fun things, and you'll find that your relationship will thrive.
I think you hit it right on the money there, because that's something that men want. Men go out there and they are facing the odds against them in the world. It's
absolutely. They do.
Yeah, and it's tiring some days where it's something that they go out there, they come home, and they have to battle some more. Mm-hmm. They feel like they're in a war, a never-ending war.
Yeah, they are.
And for a woman to really be his just peaceful part
ray
of
of
the world.
sunshine, you know?
Yes.
Like that ray of sunshine.
The ray of sunshine, exactly. Just that breath of fresh air coming in to support him.
Yeah.
That's something that is going to tell that guy, hey, I should really hold on to this woman for as long as possible.
Absolutely. And I wanted to share with you guys like a story. So I grew up in a household where I saw very like conventional relational dynamics. My mom was very feminine. My dad was like the man of the house. So anytime my dad would go out like with friends or to work or whatever, or he was like, you know, running errands or whatever, my mom would like cook him a meal and have it ready for him. And I saw that growing up. And he would come home and he'd just be so happy, like, oh, she made me my favorite meal, you know, and she's like so welcoming and warm. So I saw that as like, oh, this is healthy. This is great. And my parents have been together for like more than 40 years, you know?
That's amazing.
So, and they still love each other. She still treats him that way. She still cares for him. He still loves her and treats her like a queen, you know? Like, it's reciprocal though.
Yep.
Yes.
It's reciprocal, you know, there's a transaction happening and it's beautiful. It's like, it's genuine. So seeing that was like really helpful, you know, and like my view of like relationships and masculine, feminine, you know, the balance of the two. And yeah, I just appreciate that so much.
Yeah. I mean, it's very appreciated for us kids of those parents that are older now.
Yeah.
Because as the days go by, there's less and less of that happening. And that's the sad thing. That's the scary thing.
It is scary, yeah.
And we need to get that back. We need to get that nuclear family back in order.
The family unit.
Yeah.
Huge.
Because if a man is in his masculine frame and a woman is in her feminine frame, then things are going to work out much better than
Absolutely.
if the roles are reversed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen that time and time again. There's proof of that, you know, of like women being in the masculine role and then like eventually they feel burnt out. They're resentful. They're angry. They're not sexual, right? Like they lose their libido, which is a big part. And then like the relationship just falls apart. There's no polarity anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so that's huge. And like, I always go on rants about like just the family unit and how there is an agenda to break that apart, you know?
We've done episodes on that.
Yeah.
You could almost feel it at this point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, it's just definitely a pressure for things to go in different directions.
For sure.
You know, we talk about women being independent boss babes.
Yeah.
I'm an independent woman. You know, I'm about...
I don't need no man.
Oh, yeah. We hear that a lot.
Exactly.
They don't need no man, but what they really should be doing is...
Stop the cap.
They should be stopping the cap and lying to themselves because they do
Yes,
need a
we
man.
do.
For
We
things
do.
to really progress, for the world to go round,
Yeah.
as corny as that sounds,
Yes.
that's
we do.
something...
Men are very much needed.
Yeah.
And they're not as appreciated. I feel like men, like there's a lack of appreciation.
They're invisible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Many podcasts say it. Most men are invisible to women.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
like, that's wild to me. That's wild
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, I mean, if you're literally walking down the street and a woman is walking by 20 men, she's going to ignore the 19 that she doesn't give a damn about and focus on that one
Yeah.
that she does care about.
Yes.
But then she's going to start try to give choosing signals and all these weird kind of magic tricks and things like that to get him to talk to her, but nothing happens.
Right.
So that's when women have to step up
Right.
and really be assertive. If women want to be confident and assertive, that's something that they should be proactive with.
Yes. Absolutely.
Since we're on this topic, I think it's a perfect time to throw this into the mix. Let's talk about feminism.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're talking about how there's different movements that are breaking apart
Hell yeah.
the family unit. I would say, which one of you guys would like to start off? I think you guys already know my opinion on this. I think that feminism has empowered women, right? They're on their high horse right now, career-wise. And there's a lot of, I've said it many times before, a lot of women are actually outperforming men. Mm-hmm. For the first time in history, more women than men are buying homes. That's a fact.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But in the meantime, I think it is breaking us apart.
Yes, it is.
So
Yes, it
you guys
is.
want to?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to take on that?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys. So, yes, I'm like so passionate about like feminism and like all this because listen to the ladies out there. I get it. I get that you want to be strong and independent and all these things. And there's nothing wrong with being confident as a woman and being bold and all these things. But it's really learning when to turn that masculine essence off, you know? I feel like a lot of women take that and they put it into their relationship. They don't know how to balance it. They don't know how to turn it off and be like, okay, let me be feminine and playful with my man now, you know? So like that's one of the biggest problems. And, you know, a lot of women are like, oh, but if I'm feminine, then that means that I'm weak and passive. It's like, no, actually femininity, like true femininity is strength. It takes strength to be vulnerable. It takes strength to be like an actual woman, you know? So like, it's not that way at all. That's what we've been fed.
I think women are scared to be in their feminine
Yes,
role.
they are.
Yeah,
Women are scared of the feminine.
because they don't want to be
Vulnerable?
vulnerable.
Vulnerable.
They don't want to be looked at as weak.
Yes.
Because women say that they have to be so strong nowadays.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think that's
They don't want to be looked at as weak.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's like, but that's not, to me, that's not weakness. It's just your vulnerability is your biggest power as a woman. You know, like you have the capacity to feel things on a really deep level that men don't have that capacity to feel. You know, it's like you should own that, you know, and own the fact that like, yeah, you're a woman, like own the fact that you're soft and graceful and playful and, you know, all these things. And like, there's nothing wrong with that. Why do you want to be like a man?
And I believe
I don't
that.
get that. Like,
I don't get it either.
I think
weird,
women
right? It's
are.
weird.
I really truly believe that women are happier when they're in that feminine essence.
Yes, they are.
Because you could see it in their smile and how they carry themselves when a woman's happy.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've even seen women I know personally go from like a toxic relationship, being single, and then all of a sudden they get into a happy relationship and it's like a switch goes off.
Yeah.
They're a nicer person. They're happy. You know what I'm saying? So
There's an essence. There's a glow,
Yeah.
right? There's that like feminine glow that comes out. Absolutely. Like she starts like, you know, getting prettier and like,
Yeah.
you can just tell. You can just tell when a woman's in her feminine. You know, she's not
Exactly.
trying to perform. She's not trying to like compete, right? Which is a problem because a lot of women are like, you know, they're trying to compete. They're like, so these are all my achievements.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Can you
a very
beat that,
competitive.
right?
Yeah, can you beat that? Like,
It's insane. And the funny thing is that a man's job is hard.
yeah.
Men have all these standards that they have to uphold for women. So why do women want to take upon that role is something that I don't understand.
I don't know either. Like, I'm just like, listen, I love being a woman. I enjoy it, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, I think the whole feminism movement, as it gains speed and momentum, I think this is just the end result of it. Because
Yeah.
anytime you have an impactful movement, when more and more people jump onto it, it's gonna make you like fight for that cause. Like if I'm trying to put myself in a woman's shoes, like if I heard independence, yeah, you don't need no man, make more money, become independent. I could see how women would buy into it because, of course, it benefits you. It makes sense. It sounds like a positive thing. But I just think the end result of it, I think they're not seeing it.
yeah. They don't see the toxicity
They don't see the
of
toxicity.
like how that's infiltrating, you know, relationships in your life. And on a deeper level, like when like feminism started, women started going to the workforce, right? That means putting your kids in school and like having the system, you know, raise your children, which is like more toxicity and all that. So that's another rabbit hole, but you know, it goes that deep, you know, it goes that deep.
Yeah, there's nothing like a woman raising her own children.
Absolutely.
Because you give them what you were raised originally. But if
Yeah.
you try to change that, then everything goes out of whack.
Right. And you could see it with like kids acting out and stuff like that and like learning things that it's like, where are you learning that from?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like other people, school, you know, like the system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know what this makes me think of, and I'll even throw this in the mix. So, you know, for women, you have feminism, right? That's their movement. Men right now, red pill has been a pretty big thing over the last couple of years. Red pill is another example of it's something that could be positive. It could teach you certain things, and you could use it the right way.
Yeah.
But it can also get out of hand to the point where it gets all in your head. You get all in your head about it,
Yeah.
and you start to resent women and hate
Yeah.
women, and then it just becomes like a
Yeah.
counterintuitive thing. So, either way, whether you're a man or a woman, like you have to be careful because like when you get into these type of things, it could really lead you to destruction when it comes to dating, and you won't even realize it's like okay, I've been single for 5 years. What's going on? So
Right.
you have to stop and really think about it.
Yeah. Isn't that the men go their own way movement?
That's a different one.
Yeah.
MGTOW.
Okay. That's a different
That's
one.
big towel, yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of it because it's almost like a
They're
it's
giving
saying
up.
I'm giving up, you know, and I don't.
Oh, interesting.
Men
Okay.
going their own way is
I
its
didn't
own
know
separate
that.
movement, yeah. But that's just like, you know, giving up. I don't know if that's the answer.
That's not the answer.
No.
To me, MGTOW is a man going home to his mother's basement to play video games,
Yeah.
drink beer, eat cookies,
Yeah.
and jerk off.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's not doing anything for
No.
me.
that's detrimental. I think
Yeah.
that men should not do as much as you may feel as a man that, hey, I just want to stop. I just want to go my own way and give up on this whole charade of trying to
These games and all that stuff.
Yeah, all these games with these women, trying to ask these women out, trying to put all this effort in and nothing working out. I say start working on, as Rob mentioned, your purpose.
Exactly.
Put a dent into the world. Shout out to Rich Cooper, as he likes to say.
Yeah.
Put a dent into the world. Go to the gym, work on making enough money, and work on your purpose, working on becoming a great man, because there's not enough great men out there.
And if you're one of those MGTOW guys, I think it's okay to take a break for a year or two and go to the gym and work out and then jump back into it. But like just to simply say like I give up, period, because it's hard, not the right answer. I'm not a fan of it. I think
that's not doing anything either. Like you're not you're not progressing either.
It's not no effect of not progressing. It's actually a negative effect. You're going backwards.
Yeah, true.
Because you may have been progressing, but then you got to that point where, okay, now I am stopping with trying to impress women, and this is all I was trying to do. And while he was trying to do that, he improved his qualities of himself, within himself.
Right.
But at the same time, now that he's gotten to where he's, okay, I'm giving up, and I'm not going further with trying to do anything with women, now it's taking, it's a couple steps forward and 10 steps backwards type of thing.
Right.
And men should keep progressing. Men should keep going, keep pushing, go through struggles. We all go through struggles.
Yeah.
Of course, women, but as men, we go through way more struggles.
Yeah.
There's so many things that we deal with, and that's aside from dealing with anything women related.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of the time men, because they don't have that outlet for their emotions, like they're dealing with that. They're dealing with like family stuff and their family's emotions. And like if they're married or they're in a relationship, then their woman's emotions, So now it's just like compounded, and like, where's a man going to like let that out? Right.
Yeah.
That's where brotherhood comes in and like, obviously support from other peers. But a lot of men don't have that though.
Yeah, definitely men should keep a small circle of friends. It could be even one best friend is fine.
Yes.
As
someone
long as
you trust, right?
Yeah, someone you trust, someone you can lean on. Maybe you have a couple other guys and you go out and shoot the shit once in a while. That's great too. But as long as you have somebody there that truly cares, respects you, will listen to you, and will be honest with you, will criticize you when you need it, and not just be like, hey, bro, you're the best. I'm here for you. You're, positive in every which way. Yeah. Which is not true, because there is no perfect human being, unfortunately.
Right. We all have our flaws.
We all have our flaws. So
yeah.
I think it's important for men not to lose their brotherhood, as you said.
Yeah, I think friendship for guys it's a big part of your mental health. Like having that balance. Like if you are in a long-term relationship or a marriage, and like Nando mentioned, there's some guys that are married and they just lost complete touch with their friends.
So bad.
And it's sooner or later it's going to affect you mentally, and you can only hold that for so long before it's going to affect you. So you got to have a balance,
Yeah, I agree, guys. Like that's a big part, of like getting your your energy out, right? As a man, it's like, you can't. You need that circle. You need the boys' nights. You need to be able to connect with your friends in a way that you're not connecting with your for your partner, right? Like it's different.
Yeah,
the company of your woman is different from the company of your boys.
Right, your woman or your girl or the girl that you're talking to, whatever the situation may be, won't tell you the same thing that your boys are going to tell you, or your best boy is going to tell you. So
no, exactly.
Yeah, so I think that's important to keep that around. You mentioned earlier, men within your coaching program, you see that men are mostly having trouble with sex issues. So
sex is a big one. Yeah. Sex is a biggie.
And I'm sure you've seen it out there that men ages 18 to 30, about a third of them, or I think 30% to a third of them, are either virgins or haven't had sex in the past year.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's insane. It's sad. It's scary. And that needs to change. How can men work on changing that?
Huge. Yeah, because I feel like a lot of men, they feel safer masturbating, jerking off, watching porn, OnlyFans, now that that's a thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's so much easier now. I have access to all of this. Why do I have to approach a woman and talk to her, right? Like, why do I have to like deal with consequences and like, her potentially rejecting me, going back to the rejection piece and, like feeling like now I have to continue this or I have to deal with her emotions, right? Like all these things. But I think that one of the biggest parts of that is, of course, a man, again, working on himself and like cultivating different skills, different hobbies, and doing that inner work on himself, right? Like facing like his fears around like intimacy and sex and vulnerability, right? Within himself, because that affects, a lot of men. Like they don't realize like how much, sexuality is a big part of a relationship. No matter what anyone says, like sex is like a major component of a romantic relationship. Like it's the one thing you're doing, that you're not doing with anybody else. You're not, having sex with your homies, right? I mean,
hopefully not.
That,
like
no judge.
No judgment.
Judge-free zone here on the podcast, guys.
But, generally speaking, right? Like that's usually the case. So you want to make sure that you're cultivating a safe space with the person that you're, sleeping with, whoever it is, right? Whatever the relationship status is. So, learning to look at yourself as a man, like your sexual insecurities and like, what you're lacking, what you need more of, your needs. That's a big one. A lot of men are like uncomfortable with like accessing that dark masculine, that primal, sexual energy. And I get it because they've been shamed for it, because of the Me Too movement, because like all these things. I understand why they push it down, but it is really, really, really important and very sexy and very attractive when a man is able to really like hone in on that and tune into his dark masculine.
Since we're on the topic, what do you think is the biggest miss for guys sexually? Like, because I know women definitely have to complain sooner or later, like he doesn't know my body well, or he doesn't know how to turn me on. Like, I would assume it's that guys kind of jump right into it, and women like to do more foreplay and get more into it. So what would you say guys get wrong?
Oh, it's a great question. I think it's the emotional component,
Really?
Because foreplay for a woman begins like 24 hours before sex.
Okay.
So when a man is acting correctly, he's acting right, and he's like listening to her, being attentive, validating her, giving her attention, right, praising all the things that
women love
need,
to get,
that women need, right, on a primal level. A woman needs all of that. When a man is doing that and like prepping the scene, and setting the mood, going the extra mile, right, like doing little things like if your woman, like she enjoys candles or she enjoys getaways or something like that, like maybe, put some novelty in there and like, take her out for a weekend and do something fun. That I think is a major part of foreplay. Obviously, besides like the physical part of foreplay.
Women like the build up more.
The build up. Yes.
Yeah.
Women
and guys just want to go straight into it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. And that's where like there's communication issues, because women are like, at least they come to me and they're like, oh
women can't get turned on as quickly. It can't just happen like in a switch, like a guy. Yeah.
No, it takes us time.
Well, women are emotional beings and men are physical. So
yeah,
men should really focus on opening up a woman emotionally to be able to get to that point where they're are enjoying themselves sexually.
Exactly. So yes, men do have to put in that work, because a man can look at a woman and be like, ooh, titties. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
instant turn on,
good,
just visually,
Yeah, visually, right? It's like, okay, I'm good. I don't like need anything more.
Yeah.
But women definitely need that like emotional foreplay.
Right.
So like being able to like do the things that she likes, and like love on her, like what is her love language? That's a big part.
Yeah.
Knowing the love languages, right? Mm-hmm. Like learning about how does my woman like to be loved, and how can I do more of that for her?
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
These are things
that for men too, like ladies, learning about your man is really important. Because yes, men are simple creatures, but they're also like individuals, and they all have different ways of being turned on, different kinks, different things that they desire.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So like tune into that, right? And like intuitively, really tune in and ask, like, what do you like? Like what do you like for me to do for you? Like what's like your favorite part of foreplay? Anything. Just like do that stuff, and you'll like your relationship will thrive.
100%. Don't you think also men are and should focus on, those that aren't should focus on opening women up emotionally to get to that point where they get to enjoy themselves, sleep together and all that, have a good time. How about when men come home and they need a woman to just be like, hey, let's get this going?
Oh, when a woman initiates.
Yeah, when a woman starts initiating and he is kind of, okay, boom, he takes the masculine charge right there and takes over.
Yeah.
Can women do more of that, more initiating as well when it comes to
I think that's important. I think that's really important. And that's something I'd like tell my clients too. It's like when they feel like they're lacking in their sex life, it's like once in a while initiate. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, why not? You know what I mean? Most of the time, your man's probably going to say yes to you. You know what I mean?
Good point.
Like, unless he's like very tired or there's other stuff going on in the relationship, who knows? But if he's like, you know, turned on by you, then most of the time he will say yes. But just try. See what happens, you know? Take it from there and just like initiate. Like there's nothing, if anything, it's sexy when a woman takes a little bit of charge in that way. You know?
Without a doubt.
And then the man can like dominate and do whatever, you know, if that's in the cards sexually for the relationship. But
yeah, definitely guys love when women start the spark when it comes to leading to the bedroom and then, you know, doing all the fun stuff after that.
Yeah, seduce, right? Learn how to seduce. Like,
the seducing.
There's an art of seduction. It's like women learn how to seduce, you know? Like,
exactly. The flirting, all the little things that lead to that. Because as much as men like sleeping with women, vice versa, I think more women love when they get to that point as well.
Yes.
They need that as much or more than men.
Yes, exactly.
You know, so.
Exactly. And some of the best ways is like, you know, sending a sexy photo, right? Like at like wrong timing, right? It's like, oops, wrong timing. You know what I mean? That's a great way to seduce, right? It's like getting a man like turned on at the wrong time could be like really great for the relationship. Yeah. Playing like fun sex games, you know, like card games and stuff like that like can really stimulate the relationship, right? Like, I mean, there's like so many things that you can do for each other. It's really about being creative.
Yeah.
What's that one card game? Is it Cards of Humanity, or did I get that wrong?
Cards Against Humanity.
Is it?
That's like a funny game.
That's a funny game.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there are like dice games and all stuff. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I have one. It's called like After Hours or like something like that. There's it's fun though. You know, like
the first one will be like an action. The second one will be a body part. Like I've seen those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You can do strip poker. You know, like there's just 100%. So many ways. But yeah, it's desire, it's creativity, it's like wanting to nurture the relationship in your partner, the person that you're sleeping with. So
yeah, because I would imagine like especially when you're coaching like couples or people that are struggling with that. Things probably get too repetitive after a while, I'm assuming. If you're in a relationship for 2, 3, 4 years, that's when things start to get... Because I've had that happen before, too. I was in a 2-year relationship, and like towards the end, like she would start complaining, like, oh, I gotta try something different, this and that. And I'm like, how many different ways you want to... But I get it, you know what I mean?
How many different positions?
Yeah, exactly. But it's not just about the positions. It's about the whole thing, how you go about it.
Yeah, and novelty is necessary. You know, like I just think both men and women need novelty. Humans need novelty.
Put some costumes on or something. Act stuff out or something like that.
Play.
Make it role play. Make it interesting.
I'm here to fix your sink. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, like do like fun stuff like that. You know, like have sex in different places too. You know, like you know,
spontaneity.
I mean? That's what it's
amazing.
Exactly. Try new things. Get out of your comfort zone. You know, like
that's the thing. I think a lot of folks are loving the comfort zone and they don't understand that there's an adventure once you step outside the comfort zone and things take off. So men and women should take advantage and step out of their comfort zones.
Absolutely. Just do it, you know, like Nike. Just do it.
Just do it, like Nike. Sponsor us, Nike. Yeah.
Sponsor us.
And sponsor your podcast.
Hashtag sponsor us. Yeah.
But let's also mention now women having struggles, the issues with men opening up to them.
Vulnerability with like on men's side.
Yeah. What can men improve on? I guess, yes, being more vulnerable, but is there a couple obvious things that men could do and easy things that'll get a woman to really, you know, gravitate towards them and be able to work out a solid partnership relationship with them?
Yeah, well, when it comes to vulnerability with men, like I know there's like so much around like, oh, when a man's like overly vulnerable, it's like, you know, like repelling to a woman. And, you know, it's like too much. So I think it's really important that a man like learns how to manage his own emotions and learns to understand his own emotions. So then he can come to his woman and like have a conversation with her if he feels safe enough to talk to her about certain things. And that's going to bring you guys closer. You know, I don't think it's going to, again, it depends on the woman that you're with, right? If she's a healthy, emotionally intelligent woman, she'll be there for you. As long as you're not like acting out and breaking walls and stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Right.
And like, letting your emotions get the most of you. And again, it goes both ways. A woman that knows how to regulate her emotions is also very attractive. So it's both ways, Everyone needs to learn how to regulate their emotions so you can have a healthier partnership and gravitate towards one another. But yeah, I think it's, learning to have boundaries around, what to share, what not to share, when to share it, right? Certain times. And, if you feel safe enough to share something, share it, right? Like just be yourself, be authentic in the connection.
Yeah, I agree. What should emotional intelligence, who should work on it more, men or women?
This one's hard because listen, women... we got a lot going on emotionally.
Yeah.
A lot going on. And I see this so much with like friends and clients, like especially with our menstrual cycle, right? Hormones, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the time women bypass and they're like, it's my period. It's like, wrong. No.
That's
like
an excuse.
that is an excuse. Like, okay, yes, obviously a woman during her cycle, she does become more sensitive. All this is very true. It's very real, but it's also not an excuse to lash out, to act out, to be bitchy, right? Like these are not excuses. Like you need to learn to work on yourself. If you know that during this time of the month you act a certain way, like, calm yourself down, like find ways to regulate yourself, right? But don't put that on people. Don't put that on your partner. Don't put that on anyone.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? No one wants these emotions and all this stuff projected onto them.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care. It's
100%.
Like, yeah, to me, that's an excuse. That's like an easy way out. Like I'm just on my period, so I can act any way I want.
Right. Exactly.
No.
Two specific ones that I've encountered firsthand. Sometimes it's passive aggressiveness. They're not loud. They won't yell or curse, but they're going to be passive aggressive.
Yeah.
And then you have the opposite. You have women that are very angry, short
Aggressive,
fused.
yeah.
And, no man wants to argue with a woman or like, have problems in a relationship. It might be a girl that you're not even officially dating, but some women are very fiery. And yes, it could be attractive at times, but in general,
During the right time.
During the right time, but too much of it in a short period of time. Yeah, I agree with you. And it's like I said, it's interesting because I listen to both sides, and women always talk about emotional intelligence, which is great. But you have to also be aware of your own emotional intelligence.
Absolutely. So truth be told, like women really need to work on it. Like I know men do too, but like women, because of the nature of a woman, we really need to like work on emotional regulation and learning to bring, peace to ourselves and to our partners, you know, and the people in our life.
Right.
And because men are more logical and simple beings when it comes to making decisions, important decisions, decisions in critical situations. I believe also that women have to work on their emotions more and understand where men are coming from with their emotions as well when men are emotional.
Yes, and how they express it.
Yeah.
Because every man expresses it differently. So like learning to, again, tune into the man and like, kind of figure it out and see like, is he feeling a certain way? Does he want to like be on his own? Like, do I give him space? Like, what's the vibe? Read the room.
Right.
Read the room,
But you don't really want an emotional man because it tends to be where when men are emotional, they're dangerous.
Yes.
And they do stupid shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And impulsive.
Violent stuff. Obviously, we don't promote
Yes.
violence. We don't want any, domestic violence. I always say is off the charts in the country.
1000%.
And it needs to stop on both ends, both men towards women, women towards men. It needs to stop.
Because women towards men too.
Yeah.
That's a thing too. Yeah.
Yeah, they drive men crazy mentally. It's insane. It's just.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
You see so many crazy stories out there of what women do, the narcissism, the gaslighting, the complaining, the bitching. It's just
the narcissism.
Yeah.
Let's get into that. Yeah.
Like, why is everyone a narcissist nowadays?
I'm glad you said that.
People say that all the time now. It's like a term that's like thrown around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think narcissism is probably the most like frequently used term when it comes to this topic. And first of all, you want to get into like what a narcissist actually is?
Yes. Textbook definition. A narcissist is someone who's like literally psychopathic, like someone who's just like bad, ill intention, like, like looking out to hurt someone, right? It's like textbook definition narcissist is very different from how people use it nowadays, like as soon as someone says something, it's like, oh, he's a narcissist. You know, he said something. He disagreed with me. He is a narcissist.
Yeah,
you know? It's
right.
like,
And that's not true.
He just disagreed with you.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Exactly. They make
Too many labels. Too many labels.
They make up this whole thing to just cover it up.
Yeah.
When they should just be peeling it back and just putting out there what it is.
Yes.
Not just
Narcissistic people, from what I've read, from what I've researched, when you first meet them, they appear very likable.
Very charming.
And then they flip on you, the script on you later.
Yes.
And they're also very self-absorbed. It's all about me.
Full themselves.
Yes, they're very self-absorbed. Yeah, and they have like just bad intentions. You
Wow.
know, like they're just out to get, like you said,
Destroy.
destroy, and like I don't really care about you. It's all about me, and there's no reciprocating here. So that's like a telltale sign of like a narcissist and a connection like that. But there's so many labels, and that's like one of the biggest labels. That's just like,
And there's different
slapped on
types of
people.
narcissism. I forget her name. I follow this one.
Covert narcissism.
Yes.
And yes. That's like narcissism. That's like humble, like, you know, like the more humble narcissist.
They don't seem narcissistic.
They don't seem narcissistic, yeah, but they like are like they want to be the hero, you know.
So it's like an undercover narcissism.
Like the nice guy, you know what I mean? Like the nice guy energy, right?
Yeah.
It's just like you're just you want something out of this, and you know you're trying to get something out of it, but you're not being upfront and straightforward.
Right.
Yeah.
And you need to be upfront, and you need to, whatever you say, you can't mince words. You just have to say it, do it, be it. Because a lot of people, they don't. They just, they lie. They lie too much.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to dating.
Oh, for
When
sure.
it comes to creating relationships and building and growing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, integrity is everything.
Yeah.
You know, integrity is everything. Your word is everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Your
So it's like-
reputation is always on the line.
Absolutely. Especially for a man's word. Like a man with integrity.
Yeah.
Love that. You know, love that. Because it's like, I don't want you to be nice to me just to be nice. I want you to be truthful.
Of course.
You know, I want you to tell me how it is, you know, and like, that doesn't mean being asshole or being aggressive, but just tell me truthfully how you feel.
Right. Men should always be gentlemen, but
Yes.
they should also
Express how they feel.
Yeah,
you know?
tell how they feel, be straightforward.
Yeah.
Don't go around in circles
No.
and just get to the point,
Yeah.
say it how it is.
Yeah.
And sometimes the truth hurts. And
Yes.
sometimes you got to say it to just get it out there and accomplish something.
Right. And truth sets you free too. So.
Yes, the truth shall always set you free.
Absolutely.
As they say.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I love
it's,
that.
It's funny because the narcissism thing, I hear it all the time, and like I think we've mentioned this on a few episodes where I'm like, you know, every woman calls her ex a narcissist. I'm like, I find it hard to believe every single one of them was a narcissist. I don't think so.
Yeah.
And again, I think at some point you have to stop and ask yourself, like, you know, maybe I had something to do with it. Like maybe I wasn't,
Thank
you know,
you.
so.
Yeah. Like, what was my role in this? Like,
Correct.
no one's asking that. It's so funny, right? With like pointing fingers, but no one's asking like, what's my role in this? You know, like what was my role in my own suffering?
Yes.
know, it's
yeah,
like-
you have to do that's true. You have to do that with any like failed relationship. You have to look back at it and be like, you know, okay,
Yeah.
things went south, but like where did I 100%.
Right. What was my role? What was
It's
my
a healthy way
part?
to do it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen relationships, instances where they fall apart, and it's just because she said he's too perfect for me. I can't deal with that. I need to move on. If he's too perfect for you in the first place, why would you break up with him?
Oh yeah.
That's the confusing thing.
Yeah.
That women like to, you know, play with men, and it's just kind of like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I've seen those crazy stories. You want to
Yeah.
shed a light on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I see that all the time too. It's like, oh no, he was like too good, you
Yeah.
know, and like he's too nice. You know, I see that a lot. It's
So
like,
why do
he
you
was too
leave him
nice.
if he's too good? I don't get it.
Yeah, and honestly, I think part of that is, you know, a man is kind of abandoning himself probably in the relationship. You know, like at least with the people I see and my friends and clients, I do see the man like, you know, to the point where he's completely abandoning himself, disregarding his own needs, right?
Yeah.
And the woman's just like, oh, I don't like that anymore because you're not putting yourself first. You're not,
Interesting.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I do see that playing out a lot. And I do see that women, like, they don't know how to express it or explain it.
Yeah.
So instead they're like, oh yeah, he was too good for me. Like, he's too nice.
Right.
But it's like, no, he's abandoning himself, you know?
Wow.
And you no longer like that. Why did you date this guy in the first place? Probably because he put himself first, because you found him sexy, because there were qualities about him that drew you to him, you know? And then when you started dating him and you know, got with him, like all of a sudden he started like obsessing over you and like putting you first.
Love bombing,
pedestal, right? Like all these things. And that's when the woman's like, oh yeah, no, I don't like this.
Makes perfect
You know?
sense. Yes.
And that's going to lead me to this point again, as I briefly mentioned earlier, men should always focus on themselves, whether or not they're in a relationship.
Yes.
They're dating, they're married, they're talking to someone.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter what stage you're in.
Yeah. Doesn't matter if you've been married for 40 years.
Yeah.
You should, as a man, you should still be focusing on yourself.
Yeah, you still got to take care of yourself, because
Yeah.
once a woman notices that you're not taking care of yourself, that you're not working on your purpose, that you're all about her, you know, you
Right.
may have another side hustle, you may have a kid, you're focusing on just her.
It's too much.
It's a turn off.
Yes, it's a turn off immediately.
It's a turn off, and she's going to start questioning whether or not she should be with you if you're just focusing on her and you're not focusing on all the other aspects in your life that are going to help take care of her. Because remember,
Yes.
women are focused on being protected.
Yes, exactly. On a core biological level, like we're focused on that. And if a man's not showing up in that way, and we can feel that, right? Like biologically, we're just like, never mind. You know, this is like the red flag. You know. So that's huge. That's huge.
Big.
Yeah.
That's big.
How do you think guys can avoid falling into that trap of being the predictable, boring, nice guy that women lose attraction for? Like, what do you think? Because obviously, when a man gets into a woman, he's gonna want to do things for her. He's gonna want to spend out with her.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's an easy trap to fall into as a man, because
Right.
you think you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you just ruined your own relationship. She just
Yes. Especially if the woman's like really attractive, right? And
Right.
It's like, oh my God, I don't want any other guy to like get her, right? It's
Right.
almost like this like competitive nature that comes out, and it's like possessive, right? In a way that like, I want to do all these things with her so she can choose me and she can
Yeah.
pick me, right? So first of all, having boundaries with your time as a man is huge, right? Knowing where you're spending your energy and like making sure that you're staying busy. You know what I mean? Like don't slack. Don't get bored, you know, because then the moment you start getting bored is the moment you start like going overboard, talking to her 24/7 and like calling her all the time. And then it's just like, oh, it's not cute. You know, it's not cute. So that's big. And self-confidence, right? Like working continuously on your self-confidence as a man. And knowing that, that no matter what, you still got it, you know, you still got it as a man, whether or not it's with this girl, another girl, like you still got it. You know,
100%.
Yeah.
Do you think men and women should live together before getting engaged or married?
I don't. I really don't. I feel like that is like fast track to like breaking up.
I read it's pretty common now for people to live separately on purpose. Like
Yes.
they're in a relationship, and it makes sense, because I think that's where the arguments start. I had one experience where I lived with somebody I was dating, and we dated for 2 years. The moment we moved in together, we broke up like a month later.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
completely different dynamic. You're better off being apart.
Absolutely. And I say that because I've seen it with my friends. I've never done that. I've never lived with a partner, but I've seen it with my friends. I see it with clients all the time. Like the second they move in, all of a sudden everything falls apart.
Yeah.
And it's just like, because moving in, I don't care what anyone says, moving in is marriage. You know?
Yeah.
It's like being married together.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, it's just, okay, you don't have the ring or like the certificate.
It's not official.
It's not official, right? It's not government official. But like, you're living with this person. You're seeing them every single day to day. You are waking up next to them. You're seeing like their ugly side, their like, you know, shadow side. Like you're seeing their fears, their insecurities. Everything is coming up
Yeah.
to be seen. And if you're not ready to handle that, forget about it. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have a solid foundation and trust in the connection, like that's gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you need to build that first
Yes.
before
Yes.
you get together. Maybe if you want to test out living together a month or two before, I don't, again, suggest marriage, and we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But, you know, a month or two just to test it out before you truly get serious, maybe, sure, but for the most part, it's not recommended.
No, I don't think it's a good idea. I see it fall apart all the time. It's just like
It'll cause more harm than good.
Yes, exactly. And the crazy part is, and I see this with people all the time, is they do it for convenience a lot of the time. They just want to move in because they like need a roommate. Or
We're hanging out. We're together all the time. So
we're together all the time, and like, you know, we can like pay for, obviously everything's expensive. Life
Splitting
is
rent.
expensive.
Yeah.
I get it. And so splitting rent, you know, that's a big part,
Right.
right? It's like, oh, if I have a partner, I might as well move in with them, right? And it's like cheaper, but that just falls apart because now you're just putting that at the forefront and you're not really like putting the relationship at the forefront.
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
Well, I've heard of people breaking up or in the process of getting divorced and they still live together because of how convenience and
crazy.
how expensive things are, how tough it is to find a living situation currently with
Yeah.
the state of how, the state of the world and the economy and all that. So people sacrifice themselves. Maybe they hang on to a relationship longer than its life expectancy because of
That's a big one.
convenience and living together. Maybe they moved in together. She's close to her job, so it's easy for her to go back and forth, whatever the case may be. So
yeah, absolutely. I see that all the time too. It's like people are divorced and like not together, but they're living together.
That must be terrible.
That's like,
I don't know.
Why would you do that? Why would you put yourself through
At least be on different floors or something.
Yeah.
Unit 1, Unit 2.
I don't know how you could be comfortable living with an ex significant other.
No,
it's not comfortable.
No, that's weird.
I would want to lock my bedroom door. I wouldn't be comfortable whatsoever.
Since we're on the topic, what do you think causes most divorces? Why do you think? Because I think the stat is like most marriages in the U.S. that fall apart last about 8 years. Like that's that magic number for some reason.
Yeah.
Why do you think most of these marriages fall apart? Is it just getting sick of each other? Is it boredom? Is it a combination of everything? Finances?
Finances is actually big. I've seen statistics around that. Finances is huge. Like seeing money in different ways, different perspectives around money. I'd like if one person's like the saver, the other one's the spender. Like that can cause like serious issues in a relationship.
Yeah.
So I see that play out. The other one's boredom, right? Like people get bored of each other. They want novelty, and then that can slip. And I've seen it play out too. That slips into infidelity, and like cheating and stuff. Both men and women, both, But yeah, women tend to do that a lot too because they want novelty, right?
Yeah.
They want excitement, and it's like
something new, something exciting.
Yeah. I want this man to sweep me off my feet, and this guy's not doing it for me anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
And
it's true.
that's realistically what happens.
That's what happens. Yeah. So yeah, it's like holding a marriage up for that long is work. It is it's serious work. And when I see people doing that and like genuinely working on themselves to like uphold this like their relationship, it's like kudos to you because nobody does that anymore. You know what I mean? It's so easy to just be like, okay, I'm out. I have 50 other options lined up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think most people even know what they're walking into when they get married? Or is it just kind of just feelings and
feelings?
Yeah, like a fairy tale, and then
fairy tale.
Because the real marriage probably starts like around 8 years. That's probably when when all the.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like my brother's been married for like a little bit more than 8 years now, and he's told me that he's like, oh yeah, marriage is like a trip. You know what I mean? It is a trip, and he's like, it starts like later on, like true marriage, and they have like 2 kids. My nieces are incredible. But shit gets real, you know? It really does get real. And it's like, if you're not willing to like, sit through that and sit through the storms that marriage is going to bring, don't do it. Just don't do it.
It's definitely a hell of a roller coaster ride, that's for sure. There's so many ups and downs.
Yeah.
As you said, you'll run into a storm as you go up or down.
Yes, always.
And it's really something that you have to be patient with.
Yeah.
There are going to be, the arguments and all that. Do you think that relationships are falling apart too easily nowadays in comparison to the past?
Yeah, I think a big part is dating apps and social media. I honestly think that that's a big part because
the options that women have.
There's just so many, you know. It's like, and men too, right? Like men also have so many like options. Like, oh, there's like so many hot women online. It's like I can just swipe and connect with women and all that. But yeah, women more so because women are the receivers, right?
Yes.
So men have to go out there and like try to, get with a woman. I always say like the woman's the gatekeeper of sex, the man's the gatekeeper of a relationship, right?
Yeah, good point.
So
100%.
yeah, the woman's the one that says yes or no to like us sleeping together, like what's the deal? And the man's the one that's like, I'm gonna wife her up, or I'm gonna, give her the ring, or I'm gonna commit to her, So yeah.
Big time. Totally agree with that. The only thing I will give a little bit of pushback on is that men don't really get as many opportunities as women. They're not as active when it comes to dating, talking to a woman, relationships.
Yeah.
None of that. Sleeping with a woman,
Right.
that excitement.
Yeah.
I think that's really tough. I think women have really just taken over that. Like all women, no matter if she's one on a scale of
1 or a 10,
1 to 10, they all
right. It doesn't
have
matter. Doesn't
options.
Matter. True.
Yeah.
True. But a man, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up, Fernando. That's a really good point because you're right. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm just like, yeah, you're right. Women, doesn't matter if they're a 1 or they're a 10. Like, they're still going to get guys in their DMs.
Yeah.
Right.
They're still going to get, men trying to get with them,
Right. There's men's that are 6 and 7s that women won't look their way. Those average guys, even the 8s. Women
Guys have to put way more.
I didn't even think about that.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think guys have to put more work into it, and you almost have to have like a strategy behind it. Like the days of just like going to a bar and picking up, it's become very difficult. It's not that easy. Women have more options than ever.
Oh, yeah.
Women are more selective, I believe, than ever. And it's
That
not
is true.
Yeah.
They're more selective. Yes, they're a lot pickier now.
Yeah.
If you, I mean, it's pretty much common sense, right? If the tables were turned and we had more options, we wouldn't be so quick that you'd be like, yeah, I'll take her. I mean, you're gonna be like, well, hold on,
Yeah.
let me check my DMs, let me see who's trying to take me out this front. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Competition is.
Let's see what
is
choices
fierce.
I have, and then I'm going to pick. Oh, he drives a Lambo. Oh, this guy drives a Honda. Oh, this guy drives his 1993 Chrysler.
Where's the Lambo? Where's the Lambo?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Who's going to fly me out?
Who's taking me to Miami?
Yep,
Exactly.
And Dubai. Let's go.
Let's go.
Where all the boss players go, where all the hoes are at, right?
That is so funny.
That's
That's a really good point. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. And women do go for the most powerful man in their circle, in the circle of like men that want to get with them. It's just like kind of in us, right, biologically, to seek the most powerful man and to want the man that can provide the most for us. You know, so
even the dumbest things, like if a guy has 500 followers on Instagram versus a guy that has 100,000 followers on Instagram.
It's crazy.
It's those dumb decisions that women make.
Yeah.
Based off of silly things.
Absolutely. It's like, ooh, he's like somebody. He's got status,
He's got some status.
Yeah, he's got power. It's the power thing.
Yeah, he's got a
Your
yacht.
Instagram could be enough to like ruin it. She could look at your pictures and be like, I'm not feeling it.
I
like,
agree.
Yeah.
Yes, your Instagram's like it's like a resume.
your dating profile, your resume.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It's, like
It's your
kinda
LinkedIn, your Tinder, everything. Yeah.
everything. It is a dating profile if you think about it.
It
Yeah,
is.
if you think about it, and I've heard it mentioned before, so we'll take up on that here on the podcast, guys. I've heard it mentioned. Instagram is like a dating app.
Yeah,
you can.
It is.
Pick up a lot of people on Instagram.
Yes.
You can meet people on Instagram.
Yeah.
You put your best self out there, and especially as a woman,
Ooh,
by all means,
forget it. Yeah.
you're gonna get messages up the wazoo.
Yes, exactly.
It's insane, and men won't get that. They may get a message
So interesting.
if
guys.
they're lucky.
Wow.
Guys don't get DMs. I mean, unless you're like really a standout, like tall, good-looking guy, maybe. But most guys, we're not getting any DMs.
Yeah.
Forget it.
That's crazy. Like I love hearing this.
We're not getting any DMs, I promise
learning
you.
about this, because like,
Unless it's a meme or something. But no.
But that's the thing. Women don't see that, So I'm glad that you guys are bringing that up because
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of women don't see that.
Right,
They don't see that side.
That's why when women look at guys and say, "Oh, well, they're so frustrated. They're sexually frustrated. They're complaining." No, it's because men are really going through that. So we're trying to get women to understand the men's perspective and men to understand the women's perspective here.
Yeah.
We're trying to get both sides on the same page.
Yes.
There's no, we're trying to go at women just to go
Right.
at them for no reason.
Right.
Or we're trying to go at men for no reason, which we hammer both sides. So we hammer women, we hammer the guys. We
love
tell
that.
the guys that they need to have standards, but we tell men that they have to understand that women have standards as well.
Right.
And they have to
Right.
uphold them. We tell women that you have to really try to
Right.
go up to a man and see if you can spark something if you want some sort of genuine connection. So we go at both sides here. So that's why we're trying to get everybody on the same page.
I love that. It's so fun. I just remembered like a conversation I had with a friend the other day. And I was telling him that, some guy like hit on me, right? Like he sent me this guy sent me a DM and he hit on me and whatever.
Of course.
And
Not surprised.
my so cute. And my friend was like, he was like, yeah, I don't get hit on like that. Like, and I like started laughing. I was like, really? Girls don't approach you? They don't come up to you? He's like an average looking guy. You know, he's not ugly, right? And then he goes, he's like, no, like I literally have never gotten approached. Like I've never gotten a woman come up to me and hit on me.
And that's the frustration that men have.
And that was surprising to me. I was just like, really? Like, that's crazy that women, like, not even like a little bit, like, hey,
The
like,
majority of women want to date the top tier men, the top 5-10% of men out there. Even if lucky, the top 20% of men.
It's crazy.
But the bottom 80-85% are unlucky. Or struggling.
Wow.
Yeah, and you could clearly see it. I mean, just go out to any club, go out to any lounge, and just observe what's going on in the room, and you'll notice that the women. I mean, what's your take on this? Because the general consensus amongst all these channels is that like women would rather share a successful man than to settle for an average Joe.
You know what was crazy is like, honestly, I think that's true. I think that's true.
Yeah.
I don't want to admit that, but I really do think that's true.
Yeah.
Like a woman would rather be with like a powerful, successful man that like other women are after, and like
they don't want a loser. They don't want.
Yes. And also I also feel like women are competitive, you know, like a woman also wants to be like, oh yeah, well, he's going to choose me.
Yes.
Like, from all those other bitches, he's going to choose me, you know?
Yeah.
So like on some level, women also enjoy that competition of like, no, I want him to pick me, you know?
Yes.
I want him to wife me up. You know, I want him to like commit to me, not to those other women. So yeah, it's interesting.
Those women want that trophy husband.
Yes, exactly.
They want to be able to hold them up and show them
Look
off.
what I won.
Yeah, look what I got here.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Yes, look what I want. And he picked me.
Yeah.
Of all the women he could have picked, especially if he's like, you know, top 10% and like super powerful, he picked me. He went after me, you know?
Even as a guy, if you're single, your DMs are empty. The moment you get involved with another girl, that in itself already gets you more DMs. All of a sudden, hey, haven't talked to you in a while. Even something as small as that.
Yes, there's like social experiments on like, you know, when a man's in a relationship, all of a sudden, and he posts his woman, all of a sudden, all the girls are like DMing him and
they
stuff.
come out of the woodwork like rats.
Oh my
they just
God.
flood out.
That happened with my ex too. Like the moment he like announced that we were together, like all of a sudden all his like past like flings and stuff, like, hey, how you doing?
I have an interesting one for you guys. So we've had a few female guests on, and we asked them like, what's your like craziest dating experience where shit went south? And a lot of them said the same thing. They said, I was seeing this guy for a while, and I found out he was married. I was dating this guy, and I found out he was married. And like, I'm listening to this, I'm like, I can't help but think that they knew the guy was married, because I think some women like married guys.
Yes.
They see the ring, and there's like something that's a turn on. But so I believe that it's possible that a married guy is just like pretending he's single and like going out.
Right.
But it's just, I hear it so many times already that I'm like, nah, you knew he was married.
Yeah, you kind of just like the attention, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, he might, like, it's the temptation.
There's always more
right?
to the story.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you see that women like being the quote unquote side piece?
Yes. I do notice that too. A lot of women are like, I like being the, you know, the one on the side and like the temptress, right?
Yeah.
The seductress, right?
Yeah.
The
Because
other
I'm just
woman,
like,
The other woman. That one I hear most.
There's something about that. I don't, it's so interesting. There's something about being the other woman. Like, like I got your man, you know?
It's mysterious. It's exciting.
It's exciting. There's a thrill to it.
There's a thrill to it. Yeah,
There's
yeah,
novelty, right?
Yeah.
attached
There you
to
go.
that.
It gives you like a high. It's like a drug.
It is, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a drug. Yeah. And again, it's that that competition of like, oh, he's like, he likes me. You know what I mean? Like he's coming after me, you know?
Exactly. He picked me over his wife and kids, which is scary.
Exactly. Like
But it
I
happens.
turn him on, you know, and it's like I'm like obviously sexually enticing him and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Do you see that more often when men aren't as sexually satisfied in the bedroom by their long-term relationship or wife?
Yes, huge. That's a big one. Like, you know, infidelity and like, you know, side pieces and stuff like that. When a man's just not, and honestly, it's not even when a man's not happy like sexually, but when he's not happy emotionally. When the woman's just like too much, or like she's not like, again, that ray of sunshine, she's not nurturing, she's not compassionate. Like I notice that that's a thing.
Right.
It's not even like the sexual aspect, you know, it's not even about like the sex being good or not good or exciting or anything like that, but it's more of like my woman's just like fighting with me every day, or she's just not, doesn't listen to me, she doesn't care, she doesn't see me. You know, it's like a man wants to be admired, respected, you know, like seen for who he is, right? And what he brings to the table. And if a man's not appreciated and he doesn't feel like that, like, they start to stray.
Yeah.
They start to stray and they start, it's, and I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying that this is what happens.
That's what's causing it.
Yeah. They start to stray and they start to feel like, oh, another woman's giving me attention. The attention that I'm not getting from my own wife or my own partner. You know?
It makes sense why they do it.
Yeah.
I understand why they don't leave the relationship or break up the marriage and the family. I get that part because for men, there's a lot of disadvantages.
Yes.
But for women that do that they have a long-term relationship and they don't break up and cheat, you know, they rather just cheat and not break up and keep that relationship or even keep the marriage. Why do women do that? Why don't they just initiate the divorce, then get with the person or break up, you know, whether it's a 3, 4, 5-year relationship, 10-year relationship, break up, and then link up with that person that you're into instead of cheating? Why do women decide to cheat?
Yeah, I mean, so women decide to cheat also because of a lack of attention. If they're not getting attention from like the man that they're with, they're going to go and seek that elsewhere. They want that praise. A woman is like, you know, validated through praise and attention. So if she's not getting that from her man, she's probably getting it from somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, so like that's a big part, you know. So I notice that a lot with like women when they're having affairs and stuff like that and they're cheating. It's because they don't feel like valued and they don't feel seen, you know. And they're not being like, you know, praised, and they're not like their man is not doing things for them and not like trying to seduce them like they were in the beginning. That's a big part. Like women are like, oh yeah, like he doesn't like sweep me off my feet anymore, and like we don't go out anymore. We don't party. We don't like dance. We don't do any of the things that we used to do in the beginning. And so that's what ends up happening.
Right. They both stay home, watch movies, like two loners pretty much. And they don't do anything exciting.
Exactly.
They'll go out once in a while. Maybe, you know, they'll go on a snowboarding trip. Maybe they'll go on a hike. Maybe they'll go out to the movies. But it's not something that is more on a consistent basis.
Right. Exactly. And I also find that like, when a relationship gets too like complacent and stagnant, it's because you guys like don't have mystery anymore. There's way too much enmeshment. You know too much about each other. Like try to reel it back a little bit and bring more mystery into the connection.
Right.
You know, so I find that to be the case too. Like when couples
it's good to be aware of that because you probably catch it before it even happens.
Yes, exactly. But like bring in a little bit more mystery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
the same thing happening all the time, it gets old.
Yes, exactly. Like try new things, obviously sexually, but also like day to day, right? Like have different routines and stuff, share different things, different like anecdotes, different stories, right?
Yeah.
Intellectually, right? Like have different ideas, like bring different things to the table. And that will, you know, keep the spark going. But yeah, a lot of the time, like that's one of the biggest problems. And then infidelity happens because it's like, hello, novelty, you know, there's this like shiny new object over here, you know, and it's like, this is giving me a thrill.
Yeah.
And I'm also like hiding from my problems in my marriage. So like, let me go here and distract myself.
It's a quick escape.
Yes, it is a quick escape.
Yeah. So that's why women do that. They keep what they have because they don't want to break up. It'll be a headache to break that up.
It's a safety thing too for women. You know, it's like, let me play the game. Let me see if, you know, because I want to stay with this person because, you know, maybe he gives me security or safety and like he's a good man. Maybe he's a good guy. And like in terms of stability, I feel good with him. But this other guy over here is like giving me the sex that I want. And he's just like, you know, doing all the things that my man's not doing for me. So yeah, sometimes like women play that game.
Yeah.
You know, and they like best of both worlds, right? So that's a problem when they're not doing the work on themselves.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's fair. Yeah. Now, do you think them guys giving women too much attention that pushes them away a little bit?
Yes, the too much simping, the simping. Like I love when Rob mentioned the simping because I was like, yes.
You know about that, right?
Yes. Too much. When it's too much, it's just like unappealing to a woman.
Yeah.
It's unappealing because it's just like. Beautiful women know that they're beautiful. You know what I mean? Like they've been told this their whole life, probably. Like they know it. Like their
they get the text,
they
get the they get the DMs, they get all the attention.
Yes,
they get people texting them, "Oh, hey, beautiful." Yes. Even if they're in the relationship, they'll get that pressure to break out of that relationship and get with that guy. Yes. So it's
absolutely beautiful women always know they're beautiful. So like I always tell men. approach a woman through a different lens with a different perspective. Don't just come with like, hey, beautiful. You know what I mean? It's like, don't be like everyone else, right? Like stand out from the crowd. Say something different. Do something different. Bring something else, you know? Like compliment her on something else that like probably other people may not have ever complimented her on, you know? So that's like big. But like I noticed that a lot is, you know, like men are just like, hey, gorgeous, right? And they think that a woman's going to like give them the world or pay attention to them. It's like, no, chances are she's heard that a million times. She's over it. Do something different and stand out. Be unique. You know, a woman wants you to be like, you know, oh, he's different. Like, I've never heard that before.
Right.
You know, he complimented my intellect or, you know, like, I don't know, like the way I was raised or like my manners or something different.
Right.
You know?
Something that's not a physical feature.
Yes, exactly. And something that's not conventional, right? Like unconventional is good. So keep it spicy in that way. But yeah, like that's a big part because women, they know they're beautiful. They know they can sleep with men, you know?
Yeah.
And they know what you're trying to get out of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, you're not fooling anyone.
No, women know. Women know, exactly. So, and the simping is just not cute. It makes you look like
Needy.
You know, like, you know?
Yeah.
It's like no, you know, like don't do that.
That's it. Guys out there, you simp, you lose. You give up your resources and you don't get anything back, you lose. You don't want to put yourself in that position because then you lose yourself. You lose your purpose.
You snooze, you know? Like.
You lose your snooze. You lose your purpose. You don't really push forward in the direction that you should be pushing towards to grow and to develop into a man of having overall everything, all the attributes.
Yes,
I think,
exactly.
I think it's important that men realize that.
Yeah, and just remembering that being a well-rounded man is powerful. You know, being a man of integrity, keeping your word, having strong values, strong morals, going after what you want, you know, like being confident. These are all very sexy attributes. And it's like a woman will pay attention to you when you have this like unlock. So just pay attention to that, you know, like really pay attention to that. And, you know, forget about other things, place boundaries around your energy and your time and your resources. Like, don't be giving this out for free. Like, that's not, you know, like really like your worth is more than that.
Right.
You know, and it's when you're giving things out for free, it's not seductive at all.
Yeah. You have to know what your self-worth is. You can't be insecure.
Yes.
Those are all important.
Yes,
so you don't lose what you've worked towards getting.
Yes, exactly. And seduction is really about not being everywhere all the time. You know what I mean? Like, be selective with the people you connect with. Be selective with like the women that you date. Also, right? Like, be selective because people can like really feel into that. Yeah. And energy's felt. Like, energy doesn't lie. You know?
Of course. Energy tells you everything. It's a tell-all.
Yes, absolutely. For both men and women. So like, and for women too, be selective, of course. Like, it's the same thing. But, you know, for the men out there, they're just giving, and there's nothing coming in return. Like, you got to try something different. At some point, you got to be like, okay, I got to do something different because this is clearly not working out for me.
Of course. If it's a positive energy, keep doing that as a man, right?
Yeah.
If it's something negative that you can tell she doesn't like, then that's something to not continue doing.
Yes, exactly.
Now, within your life coaching expenditure, what's one of the toughest situations you've dealt with?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, I'll say like abuse. Okay. Abuse has been like big, you know, like, and again, that ties back to, not like knowing how to manage your emotions, especially as a man, because it was like abuse to a woman. Okay. So yeah, that was like probably one of the hardest because it was just like, oh, navigating this is rough, you know, like, because it is like very sensitive. It's a sensitive topic. And that was rough because she was very tied to that relationship and they were like together for a long time, but she almost felt like she couldn't leave. You know, it was like a feeling of fear of leaving. Right. So yeah, it's scary when people go through that. Yeah, emotional men are dangerous. Yeah, it goes back to that. It goes back to that. Like, learn to manage your emotions as a man, you know, because that gets you in trouble. Yeah. Gets you in trouble. Now, how about something on the ladies' side? Is there a difficult situation you dealt with on that end? On the ladies' side, believe it or not, infidelity. Infidelity, a lot of infidelity. More so than men. Okay, so which is interesting. You're saying where the guy cheats more? The guys? Or the woman cheats more. Oh, the woman cheats more. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that, or the woman like is like I don't know how to leave him, or, I'm not feeling this relationship anymore. I don't know what to do, so like that tends to be more of a theme. Men tend to be more committed, believe it or not. Men are more like, it's my
surprise,
woman,
surprise. And it's another thing we get accused of all the time. It's like, well, he was a cheater. He cheated. Men cheat. And like, well, yes, men might cheat given the opportunity, but most men don't even have the opportunity to cheat, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Yeah. And honestly, I've seen that. Like, I used to think that way too in my early 20s. Like, oh yeah, men are probably like cheating left and right because they're visual, creatures, and they're sexual and stuff like that. But now I've learned the opposite. I was just like, oh,
yeah,
I've been proved wrong. Because,
it would really take for a man to cheat or to even leave.
Yeah,
I think better like they have to be at their last straw to leave. They have to go through like
yes.
a roller coaster 10 times over before
Yes.
it's like, okay, I give up. Like, so.
Yeah, but men are generally committed. Men generally
I would
want
say
to
so.
make it work. You know, they generally want to make it work, and they're like, no, let's do this. Like, I want to connect with you. I want to make it work. And for the most part, I'm not talking about all men, but for the most part, yeah. And women are the ones that are like, I'm done, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
60 to 70% of the marriages end up in divorce or separation.
Crazy. Yeah.
And you're talking also about a high amount of relationships and, end. And that's at fault of women because women initiate about 80 to 85% of the divorces and separations.
Yes.
So I can tell that
it's true.
When women are done, they're done.
Yes.
If they're checked out or they're checking out, that's a sign for.
And a woman checks out way before she like breaks up.
Yeah.
Like a long.
We've spoken about that before. When a woman cheats or leaves, it wasn't something she decided yesterday. It's
been like a process.
It's a process.
It's a process, and she already kind of disconnected,
mentally disconnected,
disconnected, and emotionally. Even if she's not cheating, but she's already like kind of distant. Maybe she's not really like sexually turned on by you anymore.
You'll notice it in the behaviors because certain things will start to change.
Yeah.
The way her body language around you, or she might stop sleeping with you, and that's just the beginning steps of her checking out. Yeah.
Yes.
I've experienced it. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And then eventually one day it happens, and the man's like.
Yeah. And you're still surprised. Like, what? You did what?
What happened?
I thought everything was good. We we just like went out yesterday.
Very true.
I thought we were great together. Meanwhile, 6 months ago, she was already thinking about her exit plan.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. That's the sad reality of it. It's just what
or
it
sometimes like other guys, right? Sometimes like other options or, what would it be like to be with another man, at this point. So if a woman like has guys lined up, which sometimes that's the case. And that's why you see like women breaking up and then they're immediately in another relationship.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, oh, where did this guy come from?
Yes. He was there. He was there.
He was in the DMs.
He was there the whole time.
Yeah.
He was waiting. He was playing the long game.
Yeah. Oh, that's another good one. That's another good one. You could play long game.
Yeah. Let's also talk about like guys having female friends when they're in a relationship and women having male friends. Like that's also a big topic.
Okay.
All right.
Let's talk about that.
That's pretty big because that happens a lot.
That causes a lot of and people have very like polarizing views. Some people are like, hell no, my partner cannot have like opposite sex friends, and like some people are like, yeah, I don't care. Like, what's the problem?
Yeah. I've dealt myself personally with men that I know them, I know or have met their woman, and you could tell there's jealousy in their eyes when I'm talking to her. Or you could see it if that happens when there's another guy talking to her and he's there. So I've seen those instances where men get jealous. I've had guys say something to me and I was taken aback a little bit because that was not my intention.
Right.
I mean, if I could, if I wanted to, I would.
Right.
But I have respect. So my thing is to, if something doesn't work out, if someone's single, I think that's fair games. Person's single, they're single, that's it.
Yeah.
But sure. I'm not one to go in and try to
mess with people's
mess with a relationship or anything further than that.
Yeah, be like the side piece or anything like that. You're like,
not my cup of tea.
Same.
It's also bad karma as well. So
yeah. Because you'll feel it.
There's some belief in that I have, and but for a guy to start accusing or to start saying something, it's a little funny to me, and it shows how insecure he is. It shows how not confident he is,
Yeah.
and how scared he is to lose her.
Yes. Yeah. And I agree. I feel like there's got to be a lot of trust in that relationship, in that foundation, because if not, then you're going to feel like everyone's a threat.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
you also can't live a life like that. You can't have a relationship like that.
Of course.
Generally, when men are friends with a woman, if he finds her attractive,
They're not
I would say 99.99% of the time, given the opportunity, he would sleep with her. So that's
Absolutely.
without a
100%.
doubt. There's no
100%.
There is
shadow of
no-
a doubt that he
no.
wouldn't.
No.
So that's something I have to throw in there.
I love
Now,
that. It's true.
women having male friends, like if I was in a relationship and my girlfriend had male friends, I guess there's a few different scenarios that play out in my head, right? If this is a male friend that she's known for a long time, I mean, I can't tell her to not be friends with him.
Yes.
Because that's not going to work, and that's going to cause resentment, and
Right,
why
right.
are you trying to control my life?
Yeah. And rebellion. It's going to cause rebellion.
Well, yeah,
too,
without a
like,
doubt.
Yeah.
I think I would be more concerned with her trying to make more male friends along the way, because that's
Yes.
different. Big difference. Big difference.
It's a good point. It's a
And the
great
third
point.
thing is, what is she doing with the friends, right? If like they're going out in groups, if it's hey, we're having a sleepover, or we're
we're
we're going out
Miami.
drinking. Yeah, going to Miami, we're going out drinking. And we've had this conversation many times on this podcast, like the whole like I don't allow my girl to go out with her friends, whatever.
Yeah.
Guys know, just like women
Right.
know that men would sleep with their female friend. Guys also know when women go out drinking.
Yeah.
Look, not saying you're the type of person to cheat,
Right.
but shit happens.
Yes. Yes.
So
exactly.
it's not that I would be against her having friends. It's just like what are you guys doing, and like
Right. Like, what are your boundaries too
Correct.
around your friendships
Correct.
and like it? I 1,000% agree.
you can't tell a woman not to have friends.
Right. Exactly. And the same for me, like my exes had female friends, and I felt good about, like, I didn't care as long as I knew them, and I was friends with them. I met them, I had connections with them, and it made me feel safer.
Right.
You know,
It was
What I would be
communication
more
and trust.
concerned about? I wouldn't even be concerned about the friends as much. It's when they still follow exes or still have the exes
That
say
part.
that's
that I don't
fucked
like.
up.
That I don't like. Yeah, with friends, it's just like it's whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, listen, like, men are gonna find women attractive.
Mm-hmm.
Men don't go. No one goes blind when they're in a relationship. Like, men will always. It doesn't matter how hot your woman is. You're gonna find other women attractive too. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, just biologically, it's okay. It's just, what are you doing with that attraction?
Right.
That's what matters.
Yeah. If you act on it, that's where
Different.
things.
Yes, that's it. Learn to reel that back.
That's
Learn to
where-
reel back the temptation.
Where chaos can come in, but if you don't act on it, then there's no issue.
There's no issue. Exactly. You know your boundaries with, like, female friends, and it's all good.
Right.
It's just like, know what you're doing and don't do anything stupid, and we can have a great we can all hang out.
Right.
We can all do a round table. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all good. Yeah. But
can
the
all be-
exes, yeah.
Yeah, we can all be kumbaya. So
That's exactly it. But the exes part is, like, if you're, like, friends with people that you slept with and stuff, then yeah, that's like crossing a line.
Having
It's like,
male
I'm not
friends,
cool with
valid. You have friends.
that. Right.
But keeping in contact with exes or having them save, why?
No, that's There's
You know?
no need. There's
Right.
no
No
need.
need, yeah,
Like,
so.
if it's done, it's done. Why are you, like, talking to them still? Why are you friends with them?
Yeah.
funny thing is that I had a past relationship where a long time ago, in my 20s, where my ex was talking. I was dating her at the time, but my ex was talking to her ex. Like, I could tell, I could tell that there was some communication there, because they were like, she was like continuing to talk about him. We broke up amicably and blah blah blah.
Okay.
And then from time to time she would bring him up. So I never really took that whole it was a short relationship.
Okay.
It was like a 4-month
Okay.
thing, if you
Right.
want to call it a relationship.
Yeah.
But I didn't trust her from the beginning, so
Oh,
I ended up doing my thing. I already had we actually had a trip to Miami planned out already.
Miami.
So yeah, and you know what? If I had that respect from her, I would have been like, hey, maybe we should not go to Miami. I would let the guys go, because it was me, Rob, and another guy's trip. Or, I would have told her to come, whatever the case may be. But I was like, you know what? Screw this. She has to earn that respect.
Absolutely.
So, and
Absolutely.
I could tell as the time went by, it wasn't something that I was going to. The way she was acting wasn't anything I was gravitating towards.
Right.
I was checking out early. And then we just kind of both at the same time just said it's best to kind of go our separate ways.
It was mutual.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, at that point, right?
Yeah, when she said something, I was already pretty much checked out. So I was kind of like, hey, I'm good too. Like, all the best to you.
I mean, that's brave. That's courage too, because like to be able to end something when you know it's not working and to do it early on.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's better to cut your losses early.
Yeah.
Because you wait a year,
it's worse.
3, 5, 10 years in, and then
more painful. There's more attachment. There's more.
It gets more intense.
Yes, it gets more intense. There's more to lose. It's like just end it early. If you already know that that's not gonna work, like don't waste your time.
Yeah, it's all that time lost.
Yeah,
forget the money for a guy. All that time,
and the energy.
Yeah, resources.
Right. Yeah, it's huge. It's an investment that you're making. In someone, and it's like you want to make sure that you're making the right investment.
Exactly.
As best as you can. Right.
Exactly. I could see men or women testing out relationships maybe a few months, maybe 9 to 10 months, and then seeing where if we should continue, and then if they continue, great. If they don't, then that's where they break it off.
Yes, exactly. Like testing the waters a little bit.
Yeah, because it's a time waster when people say, "Oh well, I've been in a relationship for 5 years. I was in a relationship for 12 years," but then the breakup happens, and what?
Yeah.
All that time.
Yes.
When you could have known from the start, early on, maybe a few months in.
Yes.
8 months in.
Yes.
Even a year in, fine.
Right.
But you go on all this time
Yeah.
just because you don't want to step out of your comfort zone.
Well, you get that codependency thing too sometimes. Yeah.
It is.
Huge mistake for
Yeah.
either side, for men or women.
Absolutely. And I've been there, like I was in like back-to-back long-term relationships, and I knew in the beginning, like, I don't know if this is going to really work, but like, you try and you like force it, and then you're like, no. Never mind,
Yeah.
But then you both parties are like, we wasted our time,
Yeah.
and our energy and our resources, and like now we're like, at this point where we can't take that back,
Exactly.
So
exactly.
yeah, it's like if you cut your losses early on, like it's a lot easier and it's a lot better in the long run.
Yeah, so I think it's best for intentions to be communicated early on,
Yes.
and to build that respect, to
Yes.
build that trust,
Yes.
and that loyalty to one another. Because if you do, then you can have a relationship that you're not thinking about breaking up within 6
Right.
months or a year.
Right.
It's a relationship that you can thrive and build
Yeah.
on for the future.
Yeah, and you can build something together, which is usually like the ideal of a relationship. Like, why are you in it anyway, right? It's so you can
Right.
build together, so you can like, love each other, trust each other, like rely on one another. So yeah, it's just inspire each other, right?
Yes.
That's a big part. So yeah, that's huge.
Big time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, women end relationships more than men. Why is that? Why are they? Maybe we covered it briefly. I think we may have said a couple things about it, but can you expand on why that women just say, okay, I can move on. I want to move on. I want to end it. More than guys. Guys want to hold on.
You're saying why they move on easier?
Yeah. Why
like,
women?
Why are men more like committed and more
men are more
stable?
committed. I know why men are more committed, because they have a lot to lose. There's marriage where you can lose your house,
I know.
your car, half your shit. So I get that.
That's so true. That's so true. Yeah.
But maybe within a relationship, I guess time, resources, energy, of course.
Yeah. You know what it is? Like, I always see it this way. Like, the feminine is water. She's the ocean. You know what I mean? It's just, she's obviously a very emotional being, and we act on impulse. Like, we act on emotion, and it's like, oh my God, I'm not happy right now. Like, this needs to end. And you might not be unhappy in the relationship. You might be unhappy about something else, but you don't like process that, Men are more logical. So for them, it's just like, they're the mountain, Yeah. They're stoic, they're grounded, they're strong, and men don't, sometimes they're just like, yeah, I'm feeling a certain way, but I know that it's not about my partner, like men have this capacity to like, see different perspectives also and be logical about it. Whereas women, we have 50 different tabs open, and they all kind of like,
they mesh.
They all mesh together, and then we're like, I'm freaking out. I just like, maybe I just need to break up and like be with another guy and like get swept off my feet.
Yeah.
We're emotional beings.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And we teach guys to understand that women are emotional. You got to deal with that.
Yeah.
But of course, there's only a certain amount that men could put up with. There's only a certain amount of ups and downs that men will put up with as well.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
you know, men have to cut their losses early if that's the case.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Because it's like, if you can't, if you can't deal with that, then you shouldn't, you know? So know your limits, you know what you stand for, know like your standards too in a relationship and with women. And just leave if it's not doing it for you.
Yeah. Big time. Big time. Also, I wanted to touch on what, of course, more relationships related stuff, but a statistic, 63% of single individuals aren't going after romantic relationships or even casual opportunities as much. Will that number, in your mind, do you see that going up or do you see that number going down?
I see that going up.
Yeah.
With the rise of social media, AI, that's a big part too. AI is huge. Like, I mean, they're like already talking about robot like boyfriends and girlfriends. Like,
I've seen that.
I did see
I've
that.
seen that.
I
It's
did
just
see
like,
that.
What? Like, are you kidding? And it's like, you know, like these women are like, oh well, you know, now I have a robot boyfriend. You
Once
know?
once he replaces the real thing, it's game over.
It's game over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And people are going to feel like, oh, I don't have to deal with like my partner's emotions anymore. Like, I just deal with a robot. I get my needs met. You know, like the robot does everything for me. It's a weird world we're living in.
It's a weird world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the guy fucking a plastic fuck doll.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Insane.
How dare
That's
you?
the direction it's going into, and I could see why people are turned away from it because I think for the most part people get it, like especially like the newer generation, they know what it is, like social media and everything. Like you'd have to be living under a rock to be oblivious to all this. So I think both men and women are probably at this point like hesitant to step into stuff and put too much effort into it because you could very easily get screwed over. Everything we talked about today,
Absolutely.
This is all real stuff that happens on a day-to-day basis. So.
Absolutely. I also want to add that like back in the day, relationships were, you know, like about safety and security and stability.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's more about consciousness and growth, right? Like now people are getting together to grow. And, you know, obviously because of feminism, like times are very different now. So women don't need that, you know, like they'll say, I don't need that security because I have a job and I have money and all these things, right? So what they want is a partner that they can grow with, you know, in a conscious way, like spiritually.
The man's role changed a little bit in the relationship.
Yes, exactly. And it's like there's more of like a need for spiritual growth over just like this like foundation of like I need marriage because I need to survive. You know, it's no longer a survival thing. Now it's more of a spiritual thing.
Right.
So if people are not like doing the work on themselves, then like that's not you know
It's not
we're not gonna date.
a necessity as it was before.
Exactly. It's not a necessity. Exactly.
Before it was needed, it was something that just was a societal thing where you would
women needed to get married, you know, because it's like you need to be supported by a man.
Yeah.
And that's not your family, you know.
Yeah,
so
man
it's
goes
like,
out to hunt, woman stays home, takes care of the household and the kids.
to reproduce as a woman, you have to have kids, you know, like all these things. You have to create a home, right? Create a nest. So that was like a necessity back in the day. But nowadays it's like everyone's just kind of doing their own thing. And that's not really a need.
We live in a more individualistic type
Yes, we
of
do.
society. Yeah.
Yes, we do. And it's only going to get more individualistic, I feel.
Yeah.
Because marriage rates are dropping.
Yep.
Yeah,
Completely.
It's scary.
I was shocked to
men
see.
are not getting married as much for reasons.
You know what? I don't blame him, but it is scary. I don't blame
yeah.
him because men have a lot to lose.
Yes, they do. In marriage, yeah.
I originally thought this was just like a U.S. problem. Look up the charts. It's like every single country is saying the same
Marriage
thing.
is a scam for men.
Yes.
It is.
Yep. Exactly.
For men, it's a
big
scam.
time.
Unfortunately.
Yes, it is. It is. I've read about that. I've learned that too. It's kind of, you know, there's an agenda behind that too. It's like me and my conspiracy brain is coming out, you guys, but it's true.
Hey, you have to challenge things because
You have to question the narrative.
question the narrative
Absolutely.
and make sure that things are correct for you because
Right.
it's not all what people tell you.
No, it's not. And it's like these outdated ways of like living and progressing. It's obviously not working anymore. You know,
Yeah.
it's
No.
we have to question why, right? Like, why is this not working? And marriage is one of those things that it's just like, what is this about? You
Right.
know? Why is the man always losing in marriage?
Bingo.
Yeah.
Always. Like I've seen that with family members and stuff. Like the man, you know, like doesn't. I have a cousin who he's like separated from his ex-wife, but he's not getting a divorce. He doesn't want to go through that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
okay.
of like
He has too much to lose.
exactly. They have a house together, they have a kid. Like there's a lot on the line. So like I remember I'm like I was, I knew about this like when I was in my teen years, and I'm like, why doesn't he just get a divorce? But now I understand why.
Oh yeah, there's celebrities that do the same thing. Yeah, for the same reason.
They're separated. They're divorced, but they're like, they don't want to lose what they have. So
they even keep the last name, but they're still separated.
Yeah. So I understand why, I understand why they don't do that. Cause yes, there is a lot on the line for a man to lose. Yeah. So I do see that. I do agree with that.
Do you have a successful situation where you were kind of the hero in a story in your coaching for a man or a woman or a couple out there that you're most proud of?
Yeah, I have a few of those. I feel like one of my most recent ones is that I was able to just help them kind of transform their relationship, because they were just going through a difficult time. They weren't seeing eye to eye. They both had different perspectives, and I was able to kind of bring in a new perspective. I challenged, because the woman was the one that came to me, and then, the guy came it was a couple. Couples. Yeah, it was a couple thing. So, I was able to challenge both of them, and I was proud of myself because I was like, wow, I'm not picking sides. It's really hard, to be
I can imagine,
it's very difficult because especially when you don't work on yourself and something triggers you, let's say you experience, I experienced something similar to what that lady experienced, and I'm like, oh, this guy, you know what I mean? You
almost have to take yourself completely out of it and just.
Exactly. It's not about me, it's about them. So it's I can't judge the guy. It's it's not my business. He's not my partner. It has nothing to do with me. So yeah, it's really hard to manage a couple for that reason because you really have to stay balanced.
So when you're coaching, you're sitting down with both.
Yes.
Both. Wow.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes when I have couples, yeah.
Okay. And you have them kind of talk things out and ask them. That's interesting. Well, I've seen videos of that, but that's cool.
So what I do is I don't tell anyone what to do with my coaching. I never tell people how to live their life. I don't tell people what to do. I just probe and I ask the right questions. So I learn to ask questions and then kind of take information out so they can come to their own conclusions, because at the end of the day, I'm not them and I'm not in their relationship. And who am I to say what you shouldn't do? You know, that's up to you. If you want to stay with your partner, then it's on you, but know what you're doing, So
little by little, you're peeling things out for them to hash out together.
Exactly. So it's and also trying to bring in the positive, optimistic side of well, what are some things you guys are grateful for one another, And a lot of couples lose sight of that. They completely forget to say thank you to each other. Yeah. There's no appreciation on both ends. It's okay, well, starting with the woman, what are some things that you love about your man? What do you thank him for something? Right now, just thank him for something. Let's start with that. And then that in itself is boom.
Wow.
For whatever reason, I'm really
connect the dots for
guys,
them.
It's that simple. And then she's like, oh my God, I haven't done this. I've never actually said thank you to him for taking out the trash, mowing the lawn, cooking a meal, cleaning the house. It's basic, simple things. And and people kind of look past that. And it's guys, it's really not that difficult. It's not that difficult.
It's not.
It's really not.
Compliment him, or let her know that you appreciate her. So
yes, exactly.
On both ends.
Yeah, exactly. And the same, exactly for the woman. It's for the man, tell her that she looks beautiful. If she's dressing up for you or she's doing something for you, let her know, praise her, right?
Right.
The more you do that, the more the person's gonna, want to show off to you and try to impress you and try to seduce you. So that there's again, it goes back to seduction, right? How can you be more seductive in your partnership? And it's as simple as saying thank you.
Yeah.
And being kind.
What from your coaching do you most apply to your own personal life?
Everything. All of the above, you guys.
Narrow it down to a couple.
Yeah.
So it's not what are the main things that you've had to take your own coaching to apply to your own real life of dating, your dating experience? Yeah.
The biggest thing is self-accountability, looking at my blind spots and being honest and having integrity with where I'm at. If I'm acting out of line, because again, none of us are perfect, right? And I find myself acting out of line or doing things playing games or doing things that are not in integrity. It's I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that person. And if I'm teaching people to not do that, I better not do that myself. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I'm making money off of people. I'm creating a business out of this. So it's integrity. It's responsibility.
So you feel like you should lead by example as
Absolutely.
a result.
Yes. That is like, for me, that's my legacy, is leading by example.
Yeah.
And being that person that's like, listen, I'm not perfect. That doesn't mean I'm going to get everything right. And I don't get everything, like, not like it's really about learning about yourself and, helping other people through your experiences. But yeah, it's just leading with integrity and knowing that, I don't have it all figured out, but I do my best.
Plus, like, how important do you think it is to find the right person? Because I think there's a big difference between trying to make a relationship work with somebody that's not right for you, and things will go a lot more smoother if you get a person that's more meant for you. That's something I learned from my experience, because like I used to just go for like just the most attractive women, and you get to a point where like, okay, I see where this is,
where I'm lacking.
Where I'm lacking, yeah.
Like, why am I going for the same type of people?
Yep.
And it's like, it's not doing anything for me. It's not like doing anything for the relationship. So that exactly it. Yeah. Yeah. So true.
100%. What other aspects would you like to explore as you go further and further into your life and relationship coaching program?
Yeah, good question, Fernando. To me, it's a never ending journey of self-discovery, and like learning about myself. And it's like, I know that we never get to a place where we're like, we're perfect and we have it all done and figured out. So for me, it's just like continuously, holding myself accountable, continuously learning about how to be a better person. Obviously how to be a better partner in my future relationships, like applying everything that I'm learning, and everything I'm teaching, right? Applying it to myself and like seeing how it works for me as well. And being honest with myself, right? Like really being honest with my own shadows. Shadow work is like a big part of the foundation of how I teach others and how I like help others and coach others. So learning to, really sit with that and be just a whole integrated person and have fun. Not take life so seriously. Like sometimes it's not.
Dating's supposed to be fun. Relationships supposed to be fun. And I think people sometimes overcomplicate it, right?
That's what exactly. And then like I thought about that the other day. I'm like, sometimes you just have to have more fun in your partnerships. Sometimes it's not about like overthinking and talking about things all the time. Stop talking and start doing, you know what I mean? And women get caught in that. They're like, let's just talk about like why I'm so upset and like all the time. And it's like, just, get out of your head and get in your body and just like do something fun with your partner.
Boom.
Right.
And then move that energy, shift that energy, learn to do that, learn to alchemize that energy,
Yeah.
Listen to that advice. I like that. That's solid stuff right there.
Boom.
Yeah, because like we get so in our heads, especially women, and they're like talking overly, like the same issue over and over again.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't have to rehash that 1,000 times. Just like get up, go do something fun and like get out of the mood,
Yeah, I think we find that we try to do too much.
Yeah.
And it's just overboard.
It's overboard, yeah.
It's a little
like obsessive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if you keep it simple, it's KISS, keep it simple, Sally, I like to say.
I love that.
And,
awesome.
And it's the best way to go about it, because then there's things that you take out that you don't do, like unnecessary issues that you can avoid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, within dating, within relationships, wherever, again, you stand, talking stage, relationship, just regular dating or marriage.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. So
yeah, exactly. Sometimes all you got to do, it's like if you're in a, situation with your partner, like a small argument, just shut up and like go out and like have fun or start dancing. You know what I mean? Like do something fun together to move that energy. And then, sometimes it's as simple as that. Yeah. It doesn't always require this big conversation or this like serious like tone. You can have fun too, Yeah,
energy is contagious, but you want it to be good energy, positive energy, not negative energy.
Yes.
Because that's going to be something that's going to surround you until you end that relationship, until that relationship ends. If you don't want it to end, you want to keep that as positive as possible.
Absolutely. And like, optimism is, like bright and charming, when you have that energy in your relationship, like chances are you're going to be a lot happier, and it's like you can also move through difficult situations if you have that like perspective. Yeah.
It gives you a more fulfilling relationship in the end.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Something I see so much of, and I'm sick of seeing it in my Instagram, like feed is like, treat me like a queen.
I love when Rob goes on like rants.
Yeah. Don't waste my time. It's like these bold, like
entitled,
and it's just like,
How dare you?
number one, posting that's not going to make it happen for you, for one. Okay. And guys are looking at that shit and they're just like, oh, another one of these. And it's usually the good looking women.
Yeah.
That's what we're up against. So it's like,
because they're, again, it's like humble yourself. You know what I mean? Like humble yourself. Like, yes, you're good looking, but women tend to forget that like looks and beauty will fade, over time. Like, it just is reality. Like, I'm not, that doesn't mean that a woman is not valuable as she gets older, but just on a physical level, like, one day you're going to be saggy, wrinkly, and old, What else do you have going for you?
Right.
Besides your looks.
Exactly.
What else do you actually bring to the table? And women get really upset when they hear that, It's
right.
Like, bring to the table, It's like, well, no, seriously. If you're asking a man that, what are you bringing to the table too?
Yeah, good way to put it.
Right?
It's if you're going to ask it, you should be able to answer it too.
Exactly, yeah. And if you're going to ask for certain things or certain qualities, you better be embodying that also. Because if not, then, it's not, you're not going to get that. Let's be realistic.
Yeah, you make a solid point there. And can women backtrack when they've gone too far? What do I mean by that? We haven't touched on this yet.
Uh-oh.
Before we do, guys, real quick, guys and gals, real quick. Subscribe to the podcast, guys, on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, the podcast guys _ We are also on X, the podcast guys 5. I didn't mention that earlier. And we are on Spotify, the podcast guys. Follow us there. If you are unable to watch us on YouTube, you can listen to us on Spotify. Don't forget to follow Yasmin. You want to bring up your pages real quick one more time?
Yes. So my Instagram is Yasmin Elzomor. My website is yasminelzomor.com. And you can also catch me on my podcast, Humanity Feels.
Catch her there, guys and gals. So what I want to bring up is OnlyFans. Oh,
gotta get into it, of course.
You got it. You got the ick feeling.
Yeah, you felt that, right?
I felt it. Why do you feel that way?
Because it's just like, what are we doing? Both men and women. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like women, come on. You're like better than that. You're better than that. Like you can do better.
Yeah.
You can do better, ladies. But again, it goes back to self-respect and standards, like what we talked about earlier, right? Like I'm sorry, but it's just like ridiculous.
But it goes to show you, as a society, what we value, right? Because when it's getting to that point where people are like, I want the money, I'm willing to do anything for it, to live the lifestyle I want, that's the end result. I read a crazy stat recently.
I wanted to bring that up. Yeah.
I love a good stat. Let's do it.
It was like women between ages of like 18 and 23, like that age group. It's at the point where like 30% of them have it. I don't know the exact number.
I think you said 1/3.
Seriously?
1/3 of them. I swear to God.
No way.
So
that's big. That's a lot.
Look, I was born in 86. I went to high school in like 2002, 3, 4, 5, right? If somebody's nude leaked back then, it was like everybody knew about it.
Yeah.
And it was embarrassing, and it was like, the hugest thing.
Ashamed.
We've desensitized ourselves to the point where people are willing to just fully put themselves on blast as long as I'm getting the money for it, and it's feeding my lifestyle. So
there's no shame anymore, and
there's
it's like,
no shame.
and honestly, like we need to have some shame. You know what I mean? Like a healthy level of shame is like necessary in society.
Yeah.
It's like we've normalized like no shame at all, and we can do like shameless. We can do whatever we want, and it's like, we do have to have boundaries too, and standards and self-respect. Like I do think that that's important. So I don't know. Like that's how I see it. I'm just kind of like blown away.
Yeah. The internet's given us access to so many different things over the years, but that's probably one of the like bad ones. That's the worst than porn.
Literally worse than porn.
Worse than porn, because it used to be.
I think it's worse than porn.
It is worse, and I'll tell you why. Because it used to just be porn stars made porn.
Yeah.
And you went on porn websites, and now these are regular people doing it. These are young girls doing it. These are some of these people, like, we had a few female guests explain to us that, like, sometimes women get into this to pay for college or to buy a house. Like, they have valid reasons, and they're normal people that do, but still, it's like. So
I understand the reason as to why.
Yeah, of course.
People are like trying to survive. Life is very expensive. All these things, right? And they may not have like other means to make money, but it's still so crazy to me.
It's crazy that's like, where we're at, and that it's so common. When it first came out, I remember hearing somebody that I knew had one. I was like, no way, right? Like when this is when, like, I don't know what year it was. And now when you hear somebody has one, like you go on Instagram and I see a link tree, I already know she has one.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
whoever
yeah.
she, it's so common. Like every other page
just
has
tell.
one.
Yeah.
You can just tell, yeah. Like,
There's
or if it's like
there's a vibe.
if they're
It's
working
a
out in
bad
like tight
vibe.
pants, link tree, OnlyFans.
Linktree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, the thing is that girls, women, young women that are impressionable at 18, 19, 20 years old, they see that. They see other women
Yeah.
making money
Yeah.
and buying these nice things for themselves, not needing a man, buying the nice cars,
Right.
going on the nice vacations. They don't see the future repercussions of doing these videos and putting these pictures out there yet. But once
Oh, boy.
they get into their 30s, 35, 40, and they want to create something real where it's a real relationship, marriage and kids, it's going to be a tough time.
Yeah. It's going to be a tough time with like a high value good man.
Yeah.
You know, like a good man, you know.
And I even see difficulty in having even the average guys commit to someone like that, because what kind of guy wants the mother of their children to have themselves out there
What a good point.
for others to see?
Yeah.
And then for the kid to find out as he or she grows up,
Yeah.
and then to be ashamed of their parent, of their mom.
Yeah. It's
and,
awkward. It's
and
embarrassing.
Be bullied at school and go through all that.
And I've
BS.
heard that happening.
Yeah, it's happening as we
yeah.
speak.
Yeah, like kids are like being bullied for that.
Oh yeah,
and,
100%.
like,
And now
disrespected.
I could just imagine how bad it is. You know, everybody has a phone. You could screen share, screenshot, screen record, and it's like I think men are feeding their problem by buying into it. But it's like,
Yeah.
who do you blame, the drug user or the drug dealer, right?
Exactly.
They're both to blame. So it's just
Yeah, they're
like,
both to
I mean, hopefully they ban it or something like that, because I don't see this going away. I think
Yeah, I
it's a
don't see
problem that feeds itself, right? Like
Yeah.
you're giving guys more porn, and
They're
you're
giving
giving
money.
women millions of dollars or how
Yeah,
much.
So it's like, yeah, it's just going back and forth.
it's a self-perpetuating problem. Mhm.
It's counteractive to those of us that are trying to help men and women out there with relationships and combating porn and
Right, commitment and all that stuff, yeah.
Commitment. Women want a real relationship. Well, they have to stop being independent hoes.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh,
if
you
they
gotta give
and
it
that's
that
if they want a relationship,
Spit on that
because it
thing.
seems like a lot of the times they don't want a real relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
To be
true.
honest with you,
They they don't want a real relationship because they don't need it. They already have what they need.
Yeah.
And that is just something that they try it. Once they realize that, hey, this is not worth it, I'm not going to deal with it, or I have better options, they back
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, it goes back to like all the attention that they get, like they're getting tons of men like simping after them and like sexualizing them and stuff. So they're like, why do I need a relationship?
the relationship
Like,
is now a setback.
Yeah, it's a setback. If anything, it's like, this is my business now. Women start seeing that as like, this is my business. I've set this up in a specific way, and like, why would I?
Don't get in my way.
Date? Yeah, why would I date? It's that a man's gonna like.
This would have
stop
to
me from doing
supersede
that.
what I already have to
Yeah.
make it worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah.
That becomes like a block in your life as a woman if you're choosing to do that, because you're right. Like a man's not going to look at that and be like, ooh, wifey. You know what I mean?
Correct,
Like,
correct.
it's just the reality. A lot of women like to fight that, and they're like, what do you mean? Like a woman can be sexy and like do all these things and still be a wife. And it's like,
Not really.
that's not like, to me, being sexy is a very different like vibe. You know what I mean? Like a woman can be very sexy, but like that's an energy. It's not about like,
Right.
selling yourself out. Like,
Correct.
there's a difference. It's a difference.
The sexier woman is the one that's not putting herself out there for others to see.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. The woman that has mystery.
When they think that they're putting themselves out there because they think they're hot and all this other nonsense, that's great and all for them. But in reality, people are seeing that and saying, well, she's not worth it to deal with.
Right.
As, man to deal with in a relationship scenario. So
Exactly. Yeah. And men also like worry about that, because back in the day, if a woman got around like that, like a man's not gonna trust that.
Yeah.
He's just like inherently gonna be like, red flag. Like if you're doing that, you're probably gonna cheat on me.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah,
probably
plus,
not
if you
gonna
do
be loyal to
OnlyFans
me.
for long enough, I would imagine it desensitizes you to that, and it must change you mentally.
Oh, absolutely.
It has to. If
Especially
you do
at
that
a
for
young
long.
age.
Yeah, especially at a young age.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like women are starting at like 18, 19. That's crazy.
Yes.
That's an impressionable age to very impactful.
Very impactful.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness. Like, terrible.
And this isn't like getting a tattoo at 18 that you regret later. This is like, you know, anybody can screenshot it, record it, share it.
Yeah.
So,
And like the internet is so vast. Like, you know, you can find things there, and it's crazy to me.
look, I work in a phone store, and I can't tell you how many parents come in with like younger kids, and they're like, I want to get them their first phone, and I want them to have zero access to the internet. I'm like, nothing at all. I'm like, well, there's why they don't want them to have any internet access at all, because they know what world they're opening them up to.
Is that even possible?
What's
Yeah.
that? You can block data. The problem is you can't block Wi-Fi, and that's the main issue they run into. You could turn off somebody's data, but everybody has access to Wi-Fi.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you would have to get them like a flip phone or something.
I just had a conversation with my brother this morning about that, because like my nieces are still very young. Like the older one is 8 and the little one's 4, but he's already kind of thinking long term. You know, he's just like, I don't want Leia doing all these things like all these other kids on social media are doing. You know, he's like, I'm already thinking about that. I'm like, well, you got time. He's like, yeah, but still, like, I don't want her to see that stuff. I don't want her to.
I'll tell you what a lot of parents do. The workaround for it is you don't get them a phone. A lot of parents, for their first device, they get them an Apple Watch as a standalone device, so they could use it as a phone. They get their texts and calls from their parents. They set it so only the parents and like maybe a couple friends can contact them.
Smart.
And that's it.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so-
smart. Yeah.
That's the best way to do it, because kids at that age only need phone and text to be able to communicate.
Yeah.
Hey, pick me up from school. Hey,
Right.
I left my books at home. Can you bring it over to me? Whatever it is.
Yeah, you don't need no cameras to be posting selfies on,
No,
on
exactly.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
Go watch Barney. What are you doing? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not even that. Go outside and play.
Yeah.
Throw a ball around.
Peppa
Go run
the Pig.
around. Yeah.
Rob, that's good.
That's a throwback.
I think we'll slowly have to wrap it up because we're almost out of battery. So you want to? I guess we'll slowly start to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Cool.
One more thing, I want to hear your thoughts on.
Yeah, of course.
We were talking about the OnlyFans women. We were talking about how they get DMs from men and how there's better men out there. Why don't you talk about the topic of hypergamy and how that's affecting relationships? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, again, a woman will always seek higher, right?
Yeah.
She will always like seek the most powerful man, like the strongest man. So that's exactly why, going back to men, do not lose yourself. Do not lose yourself, because that's going to make you lose the woman.
Yeah.
Like, your fear will come true if you start to overly focus on her and you start to like lose sight of yourself.
Right.
You know, because yes, the moment you start losing sight of yourself, that woman's going to be like, ooh, there's a more powerful man there, you know, and like,
Right.
I'm going to seek higher.
That's when a
Especially
man
if
loses his power by doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially if she's powerful and she has like, you know, also like she's a powerful woman and she has a lot going for her. You better make sure as a man that you're,
Yeah.
you know,
In check.
like in check, you know what I mean? And not like losing sight of yourself.
Yeah. What's crazy and could be impactful in a negative way to the relationship is, as years go by, we mentioned before briefly as well, they don't take care of themselves as much. They don't focus on themselves as much. They don't make as much money. They aren't the same guy as 3 years or 4 years in as when they met them the first time. So that's where men have to really crucially understand that you keep the same mentality, the same actions going when you met that woman, and 5 years in, 10 years in, doesn't matter. Because once the change happens, it's like that woman meeting another man and she doesn't want to know about that man at all. She wants her man back. If she can't get that you back, she's going to get it from someone else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Bingo. That right there. That part. That's exactly it. So yeah, it just again comes down to like you're afraid of losing your woman, like by giving her too much attention and like focusing too much on her. That is not the way that you're gonna keep her.
Yeah.
You know, like if anything, she's gonna go for like a more powerful man that's like on his mission. So
I think that should be the overall message for this whole episode today, because what you just said there, I think that's where most guys lose it.
Yeah.
yes, they do.
It's probably the most common thing.
Yeah. And what you said before, it's a loss of power.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. you have any last statements or any questions?
So what'd you think of the podcast? Did you have fun?
Oh my God, you guys, this was amazing. I will be back.
You have to come back. I was gonna say,
will be
come back with a friend. We're gonna film some more.
Awesome.
Absolutely, I got you guys. Thank you.
Come back with a friend or friends.
Yes.
We'll set it up.
Not me walking in with like 20 people.
If we had the mic set up for it, we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll,
eventually.
Give us a year. We'll get that set up going.
Eventually, I got you guys.
We had the behind the scenes here at the podcast, guys. So we'll set it up. We'll find a way to get everybody comfortable and settled.
Yeah, like everyone's just gonna be like, smushed together. I love it.
We'll throw more chairs and we'll be good.
Yeah, more mics, more chairs.
Happy family.
Yeah, but we're growing here and glad you enjoyed it. You have any
guys.
last statement, any final statement, or everything good?
I just want to say thank you guys for like putting content like this out there because it's important. It really is important. Social media, there's so much information on social media and like so much bullshit out there, but stuff like this is valuable. So thank you.
Yeah,
Seriously.
of course. We're happy to do it. And that's really the ultimate goal, is to connect the disconnect between men and women, because
I love that. Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, and that's one of my greatest passions too, obviously, right? So it's like, I think, the world is like we've been fed so many lies and so many narratives and stuff, and it's like enough with the hating on each other, enough with like, not having that peace and that balance, and I think we need to bring that back,
100%.
Definitely. Much appreciated, and, we're grateful to have you. And,
thank you guys.
And definitely,
we had so much fun.
Yeah,
we had a great time.
We had a great time with you, and, we definitely agree with us having this genuine, having the podcast and bringing a genuine figure to light, so to speak.
Yes, I love it, and I'm here for the growth of the podcast, guys.
No, we really appreciate
I'm
the
a loyal
support.
fan.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You want to give them your links, website one more time?
Give them your links and website and your podcast again.
Yes, my website is yasminelzomor.com. You can find me on Instagram at Yasmin Elzomor, and my podcast, Humanity Feels, so check me out on there.
Cool. Wonderful. Thank you for stopping in, and we really appreciate it. And of course, this is the first time, but it won't be the last time.
It will not be the last time.
Yeah, so thanks again. We're looking forward to the next one. And and once again, guys, make sure you follow us on YouTube, The Podcast Guys. We are on Instagram, Rumble, and TikTok, The Podcast Guys _. The Podcast Guys on Spotify. Listen to us there. And The Podcast Guys 5 on X will be on Facebook as well, so check us out there. Until next time, Rob and Nando, peace.